This is a show for the show called the pre-show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another pre-show for what day? What's today? July 24th, 2020. We're almost through July. Dodger, what are you,
Hello.
a cat? Are you a cat today? What is this?
I was trying to just
You're just
Hey,
you're
what's
just
up?
grooving, man. You're just feeling
Yeah.
it, man.
I'm just like feeling it out, like what's the vibe of this group right now? How
Okay. Yeah.
are we doing?
The vibe sensors are on.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You go on vacation and you come back and you're all chilled out.
Oh gosh. Is it really vacation if you have a 2-year-old with you, though?
I don't even know what that word is, Dodger. So you'll have to
Vacation?
tell me. Yeah, that's not it doesn't exist in my vocabulary. So
We basically just like got a little farmhouse near the water and tried to chill. But the problem is that for the first time ever, Clark decided that she was scared of the dark. So
okay.
So,
Sure.
during the day we had the normal rigmarole of there's a toddler running around and like asking for things and et cetera, et cetera. And you don't really get to chill ever with a toddler around. And we were like, but at nighttime, that'll be when we really get to just chill hard.
Yeah.
Not when your kid is like scared of the new place and scared of the dark and all of these other things. Like,
Yeah.
okay. So it was lovely to get away. It was awesome to like go to a beach and have literally no one there. Like that was kind of surreal and lovely. But I wouldn't say that I'm like relaxed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that we relaxed really. It was just a change of pace that was
Sure.
kind of needed as well.
Yeah. Makes sense. And then can I just call you Avery from now on?
Yes.
For some reason. Do you like the name Littlesiha? I'm just going to come out and ask it. How do you feel about your username?
Yeah.
Because I've seen most people refer to you as Avery.
Yeah, I like it. It's just that I think a lot of people call me Avery because the I and the H are so close together that people like swap them and say like Shia or Shia or Shisha. And
Yes.
it doesn't bother me. Like, it's not like it's mean. It doesn't bother me at all, but it seems to be a lot easier for people to just say Avery. So I'm like,
One of
Avery.
the engineers of the show referred to you as Little Shia twice. And I was like, nope, it's Sia.
Nope,
Yeah.
incorrect.
Incorrect. That's
Right.
incorrect. Yeah.
Actually, that's wrong.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't bother me at all anymore because it happens all the time. So it doesn't offend me. But
Okay. So we're good with
I don't
Avery?
know.
Thumbs up to Avery?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Avery's fine.
Fantastic. Dodger, I'm going to ask you right out of the gate. Seeing Avery's blue hair, is it making you, are you getting a little itchy to dye your hair? Because I know you're big in this dye game.
I have wanted to do something with my hair. I haven't done anything like fun with it, I would say, in like a decent number of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do with it though. That's the hard
It's just
thing.
so much
I feel
maintenance.
like it is a lot of maintenance, but also when you're already in it, like when your hair is already, like purple or orange or some shit, it's really easy to be like, fuck it, I'll do green next. And when it's just been growing out for a while, even if you're like, I'm bored with it, I want to do something fun. Sometimes it feels like there's more of like a workup to like, all right, I'm going to bleach my roots and I'm going to put some dye in it and I'm going to hope that the color turns out good and doesn't look like garbage. And,
Yeah.
And it's like a 2-day process because you have to bleach it and sometimes you have to bleach it again and then you have to get the coloring and it's just like, oh my God, this is such a journey.
Yeah, I have so many friends who just bleach their hair at home. I don't do that anymore because the last time that I did it, why did you flip? What happened?
That looks so much better, by the way. It was bothering me a lot. Thank you. I feel like
She was
I'm in the
looking off
conversation
that
now.
way.
Yeah. I'm like looking at chat like, hey guys.
It wasn't supposed to be such a hard, here's the production aspect of it. It was supposed to be a subtle fade, but with how this stuff works,
No.
I didn't know if it was going to fade with the overlay because it's a web overlay. So it might have just disappeared completely. So I chanced it and went with the jarring quick swap in the middle of.
I liked
I
it.
should have just said that, like, I'm a dancer. I got quick reflexes. If I need to switch sides, I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah. I should have set
fast.
you up for. You're right. But now I got to square everything up, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah, continue to square up. Honestly, the only point that I was going to make was that I burned off some of my hair once, and so I'm scared to do it again. I'm
How
scared
did
to
you
bleach
do
my hair at
it?
home again. At the time, anybody who watched me like when I was first starting YouTube and stuff, my hairstyle always was like all of this hair was one color, and then the front bits were white.
Ooh.
And I loved it, but it was a ton of maintenance and it was super obnoxious. And unfortunately, when like you bleach your hair, it gets super porous, and if it even like sniffs dye, it just pulls color in. So I would have to be really careful about not when I was washing my hair and all of this to not let any of the runoff dye hit the hair. And if it did, sometimes I'd be like, well, I'll just like bleach it a little more. And one time I just straight up just like burnt some hair off, and I was like, well,
Oh
that's it.
no.
That's it. I'm done. I'm never doing that again. So,
Lesson learned. I don't think
adventures
I
in hair
used
dyeing at home.
my stylist never used bleach. They used like color lifter, which is like
Ugh.
gentler on your head. Yeah, I don't know, color lifter. It's supposed to be gentler.
like
So
it.
I think I got lucky with the hair genes. Like I've never really had any issue. But I think I'm
Yeah.
kind of blue forever. It's been 4 years. It's not coming out.
Has the hair dye
Yeah,
game
you
like
committed
evolved
hard.
in the past couple of years? Maybe, Brooke. Do you know if it's changed? Have new products been introduced to?
Oh gosh, the big thing now I think is like color depositing conditioner.
Okay,
That's like if you go to
I'm
like
sure
the
Aaron
Overtone
has some,
website,
but yeah.
like a color depositor is marketed differently from like a dye, but then there are also a lot of the like really bright colored dyes like Manic Panic are ones that like aren't super harsh chemical based, so people just can leave them in their hair forever, but some of them aren't, and sometimes people get confused and leave dye in for way too long, and like yeah, there's all kinds of shit in there. But I
So
am
much shit.
curious.
Yeah,
I am curious.
it's a whole
about
world.
some of the new stuff. Yeah.
I'm not going to dye my hair, by the way, in case you're wondering. The little hair I have left,
I mean,
don't
you
want to
could.
burn. I dyed my hair.
Fair.
I frosted my tips, is I guess the actual terminology. And
How
Do
old
we have
were
any
you?
photos?
in middle school, I don't know if cell phone. I don't think cell phone cameras really existed at that point yet. They were like super.
In middle school? We're about the same age, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm 30
I-
in change.
I
I don't know how old I am. 33,
30 and
34,
change.
something like that.
Dude, I feel that so hard.
I have to think, and so I just say 30 and change now. You stop caring after a certain point. That's about 18 years
Yeah,
old.
Sam was talking about how old he was, and I was like, "What? You're older than that?" And he was like, "No, you're older than that." I was like, "Oh fuck."
Ouch.
Yeah, 30 and change. I'm also 30 and change, but
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't even have a cell phone with no camera until high school.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think cameras really existed on phones back. It was like the
No.
giant, bulky, like it. It was around the time that like the Motorola Razor or whatever was the big. That was like the cool
Yeah,
hip
I had
phone
a-
that I never had.
I had a Motorola that was like this big.
Did you
Hell
have the
yeah,
flip one,
it was-
like the Matrix phone?
Oh,
Or I guess the
no, I
Matrix
had
phone was
I
the
had
button push, right?
I had a baby brick, a little bright blue baby brick. Hello, and it got stolen. Bam! It really proved that I could handle the responsibilities of having a cell phone
Dang.
really quickly.
I think I had a Nokia or something. Anyways, yeah, I frosted my tips and I went
Right.
to a private Catholic school when I did it. And we left it in long.
They mad.
Yeah, we left it in super long one time, and I went to school the next day, and I kind of looked like Super Saiyan Go. At least in my mind, I looked like Super Saiyan Goku. Like I had gone.
Sure.
It was full on blonde, like almost orange, like an orange tinge to it.
Oh my God.
And I had
Love it.
fairly dark hair, darker hair than I have now back in the day. And so they suspended me from school for dyeing my hair. And said the only way that
so stupid.
the only way that I could come back is if I like dyed my hair again back to its normal color. So we just
Was
dyed it
the-
black the next day, and I was
Was the school rule like you have to have your natural hair color, or was
Yeah,
it like
yeah.
my private school rule was as long as it was a natural hair color? And there was one kid who was like, "Cool, that means I can make my hair white and like bleach the shit out of his hair." but like sometimes when you overly bleach your hair, it can turn green or purple or like all kinds of weird colors, right? So he
Yeah.
came to school with like lime green hair on the back of his head. And we were like, and he was like, but it was an accident. So
Natural?
like, they're not gonna, kick me out when it was an accident. I meant for it to be white. We were like, okay.
So
Good luck with that.
yeah, it was me and one other kid that for whatever reason we dyed our hair on the same days, and we both got suspended and told don't come back until you dye it back. And so I wanted to
Amazing.
just like be a rebel and be like, well, I'm not going back to school. My parents like, you got to go back to school. Like we're gonna dye your fucking hair.
Yeah,
Like,
you need an education.
yeah, what are you doing, dumbass, for dyeing your hair? So
I hear that all the time, or I guess not all the time anymore, but like when I used to fly a lot, I heard that all the time from like flight attendants. It was like, God, I would love to have weird hair. Like I want to dye it green or whatever, but I'm not allowed. Or like it's policy that we're not
That's
allowed
so
to dye it.
wild to me
yeah,
that that's still a thing.
It's such a bummer because it looks so
Yeah.
cool. Like I don't understand. Like I think it's always been kind of grouped in with like people who are like rebels and
Yeah.
dangerous, and I'm like I have noodle arms. Like I'm not hurting anybody. I don't know
Right.
why. What part of me having blue hair makes me look like I'm rebellious or like gonna sell you drugs or something?
Yeah, that's I feel that way about tattoos a lot. Like people getting
Mhm.
rejected from a job for having a tattoo, and I'm like, tattoos are so common now that it blows my mind that somebody who is like perfect for the job could
Yeah.
get rejected because they have a tattoo. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
right. That's
I don't get it
Wild.
either.
I would say it's corporate world, but I think it's just more and more. It's like the government world. I think that cares about that mostly. Like most corporate jobs, especially if you're working in IT, they don't really care anymore. I think when it comes to that stuff. But I don't know. I've never worked in that world, so maybe I'm just talking out my ass. Who knows?
I worked at an internet service provider for a couple years, and they never questioned my tattoos. Like they're
Yeah?
pretty much mostly on my arms and stuff, and they never were like, "What is that?" Ever.
Wait,
Like, it
were
never
you
came
like
up.
a cult? What did you do at the ISP?
I-
No, not cult. Like did you work as a call center or where'd you work?
Yeah, I worked at a call center.
Not a cult.
Yeah, did you hear cult?
Do you worship the one
Did you-
true Comcast?
You literally left it after the word call.
Okay,
Did you
sure.
work at a
Yeah.
cult?
Yeah, sure. You finished it. You're just
It's
big
a
on
job
cults.
you could potentially get.
I think you just want to join a cult, Dodger. I think that's where this is really. Or you started
I'll
one.
start my own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's usually the
That's the
process.
power play, really.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, you worked at a call
yeah.
center.
I worked on a customer support line at an internet service provider that I will not name
Sure.
because I don't want to get sued. And it sucked. It was the worst
Yeah.
job I've ever had.
That's why I
I
asked.
would have
Oh, God.
like it paid better than retail because I was working at like a video game store before that and I wasn't getting any hours. So I was like, I kind of like need to pay rent. So I found a job at the ISP. And God, it was just awful. Like you get yelled at all day from customers, you get yelled at all day from your managers, from other people. You're just getting yelled at all day. It's terrible. I can't tell you how many times I've seen memes about like going to the bathroom for 10 minutes to just cry. And I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's me.
So then you
Oh
became
my
a
God,
streamer
that's so
and
sad.
you don't get yelled at anymore all day, right? Like
yes. Well,
Totally. No one ever yells at you
yeah,
about
no one
anything
ever.
when you're a streamer.
There's no.
Well,
No
it's
parallels
a different
whatsoever.
a different kind of yelling, but at least I get to yell back. That's the best part.
That's true.
I think at
That
the
is so
ISP,
true.
they would train, it was part of your training to learn how to deal with people who were verbally abusing you over the phone. And like, we weren't allowed to hang up. We had to ask for like a manager's permission to actually hang up the phone. So we'd be like,
awful.
hi, can you please not use that language? Like we won't be able to serve you if you talk to me this way. And they'd be like, I'm going to come to your address and I'm going to like bomb your building. And like, they would just get so upset because like their internet wasn't working. It happened all the time.
Did you
It
use a
was
fake
bad.
name when you introduced yourself on the phone? Like
No, it was always my real name.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't say like my whole
You
name or
didn't-
anything
yeah,
like that, but
yeah. That makes sense.
No, it was not great.
I didn't know if they would, if it was like I guess another call center where it's totally an Indian guy. It's like, yeah, my name's Steven.
Yeah.
Your name's
Yeah.
not Stephen
No,
Bear. Come on.
so when I worked at the ISP, this was not in America. This was when I was living in New Zealand, and people thought that I was out of country because I had the American accent. So they'd be like, "Can you transfer me to someone in New Zealand?" And I'd be like, "I'm in Christchurch right now. I just sound weird." And they'd be like, no, I want to speak to a Kiwi. I want to speak to like an actual Kiwi or something, or someone that speaks English. And I'm just like, speaking English.
Jeez.
I am speaking English.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Like, it's not like I can't be understood. I don't know. The whole job was so weird. Such a weird job.
Yeah.
So strange.
Yeah. My niece, I don't know like a whole lot about it, but she's basically like the person who, when you call a hospital, when like it's your hospital and you call them, she's the one who figures out like, do I connect you to your doctor or to a nurse line, or like I'm the person that you tell me what's wrong and I like help sort out where you're supposed to go or get somebody to call you back or whatever.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it is just a hell on earth job.
Any job
Because
where you
it's
actually have to
people's
talk
health,
to people,
right? Like,
yeah, any job where you have to talk to people sucks to begin with. A job where you have to deal with people's
Right.
health at the same time and talk to them to figure out what you can do to help them.
yeah,
Nightmarish.
rough.
You-
Anybody who does like a call job at all, I feel so bad for you.
Yeah. Eventually,
Yeah.
it's going to be
Big
all
love.
automated.
Big love to you.
Yeah.
One day.
It'll all be automated
Especially
one
in
day.
medical fields, when you're hearing like different people's medical problems, or if it's an emergency, I'm sure you're hearing lots of shit. And it's just, oh my God, that sounds really stressful.
Yeah.
Mm,
It would be tough.
Yeah.
Anyways, on that depressing note, let's move on.
Anyway.
So, a staycation, Dodger. I want to go back to the vacation stuff.
Sure,
Is it
sure.
are you said you went somewhere, but you called it a staycation when you told me about it, but it was actually a vacation, right?
So in my mind, a staycation is like I'm going somewhere that is not that far from my house, but is technically a different place. So
Yeah,
for example,
okay.
when we were in Los Angeles, if we like got a hotel room in, Santa Monica, technically that's like a 20 or 30-minute drive from where we were living, but it's a different place and it felt nice to like go somewhere else and be next to the water and whatever, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the idea of like a staycation is like I am technically going somewhere else, but it's not really that far away. I'm just seeing a different part of the area that I already live in. So
Oh, is that the baby monitor? She's just talking to herself.
yeah, she's singing Wheels on the Bus to herself.
There you go.
Amazing.
Avery's very impressed.
I'm so impressed. Yeah, that sounds nice, honestly, because you don't have to deal with like the stress of having to fly and make sure you have your like passport or your ID, or I guess you need your ID, but
Right.
it doesn't seem like as stressful as it would be if you were farther away.
Yeah, it was an option to like adhere to the current rules and still stay away from people, but like go somewhere different that was, not too long of a drive and all of that. So yeah.
What are the current? Where's the UK at in the COVID world? What are the current rules? I know you have some stuff about flying, but I don't know everything else.
Oh yeah, there's a travel ban full on.
I know we're not welcome. I can't go there. Americans are not allowed.
I cannot come to America either.
Yeah.
My mom keeps being like, "Do you think you'll be able to be here for Thanksgiving?" And I'm like, "Probably not."
Yeah. 2021 is probably the soonest that I will see my family.
What I'm
thinking.
assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are finally mandating masks. So that's going to be a thing, which is very nice.
Yeah. I laugh because it's like so late in the process, but we're just as bad over here too.
I know. The excuse that I keep hearing here is like, well, at this point, we're assuming there's herd immunity.
Yeah.
I don't know where this information is coming from. At this point, we're assuming there's herd immunity, but they're expecting a second spike. So if we wear masks now, the second spike won't be as bad.
Yeah.
Like, okay. All right. Sure.
Maybe we should have been wearing masks for the last 3 months.
Probably should have worn masks for a while now then. Yeah. But
I'm not a scientist. What do I know?
Yeah.
I'm kind of like having fun finding different masks that are like different colors and stuff. Like I got a rainbow one and I got like glitter one and like, I don't know, they're kind of fun. Like I don't have to smile at anybody. I can just
I just picture everyone looks like
bitchy
Mortal
all the
Kombat
time.
characters, right? Like I just see Scorpion or a katana or something like that. When I go to Whole Foods, and it's like, great, you know, this is awesome.
Yes, I love it.
I don't have like
Yeah.
a themed mask yet though, but I should probably get one. They have a lot of different, like Erin has one. Erin actually made hers, and she made
Yeah,
made
I've
her
sewn
kids
a
as well.
couple.
Yeah.
I've sewn a couple, but the fabric that I used was like a little too thick. Like
Mm.
not that it like impedes anything. It's just kind of like stuffy to wear.
Yeah.
And a lot of the ones that either we've been sent or that we've bought have been like a material that just feels nicer up against your face. So I'm like, I would still love to make a couple of masks because I've got some really nice fabric.
Yeah.
I just don't know which fabrics are gonna feel nice in comparison to others.
Avery, do you have a
I was
custom
wondering.
mask? What are you rocking?
A custom mask.
Yeah, like what? Do you have any designer mask? Maybe that's another term.
Designer mask. Yes, I have
A
Coach
designer
and
mask.
I don't know other designers. I've bought a couple from like random like merch shops that I found because I only had 2 for like the first like 3 months of COVID until like June or so, and then I was like, okay, this is gonna last a while. I need more masks. Like 2 isn't gonna cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've just been trying to find like super bright, colorful ones. Like I was able to find some at like a grocery store, but they were so uncomfortable and itchy and would like rub my face. And then I don't know. I've just been trying to find as many cool ones as I can online. And now it's gotten to the point where I'm like, how do I match it with an outfit? How does it look good? It's hard to make sure they all work together. And I've got like some that look better at night, some that look better in the day. And I don't know. I don't get what the problem is with masks. They're so much fun.
Yeah. It's
I
just
know.
another
I
fashion
like them a lot
accessory.
too. I would not.
Yeah.
I would be delighted if by the end of this, it was much more normal for people to be like, "Oh, I have a cough. I should probably wear a mask out so I don't give it to anybody." Like that would be so nice if that was much more normalized here, like it is in Asia.
Yeah. Flu season would be nowhere near as
East
bad.
Asia, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would be
right?
so much better, but it probably won't happen.
I think the scariest part for me
We're gonna
is
have
like,
to keep you. We're buying all these masks now. What are we gonna do with them? Sorry, go for it.
yeah. Once it's all over, like we're not just gonna like throw them away. I don't know. I think the asymptomatic part scares me a little bit. Like, what if you have it and you just don't know or something? And like then it's like after, or like same with the flu. Like, what if you have the flu and you just don't even realize it, and then you're just like walking around? I don't know. I'm a worry wart. I'm just like, I don't want to leave the house ever. I'm too scared. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of streamers are. I mean, I'm the same way. Like anytime it's like I cough, it's like we had someone in the house like 2 weeks ago. What's happening?
Oh, no.
So
And it's like
I
they
went
just had some.
to
Yeah, it's nothing.
yeah, it's like phlegm, and you're like, no, this is it.
Yeah.
My life's flashing before my eyes. I went to see my family. I think like a week and a half after I moved back, so I gave myself time to just like shut down, and then went to go see them because the main reason I moved back to LA recently was to be closer to them because my dad is essential and a couple other family members have like lost their jobs. So I was like, I should probably be closer to them, and I don't think this is going to end anytime soon. I went to see them for dinner, and like, you know, like we weren't hugging, we were staying away from each other, like keeping a distance and whatever. And I went home and it was fine. And then I wake up at like 3 a.m. and it feels like my lungs are being like squeezed. And like immediately I'm like, this is it. I got it. This is it. It's all over. And
it's just anxiety on top of anxiety.
That's what it was. It ended up being anxiety. And I was like, what? Like I've had one panic attack in my whole life, just one.
Yeah.
And it was super different. It was like hyperventilating and like kind of like tunnel vision. But I called an ambulance and they took my vitals and they were like, you're super healthy. Like there's nothing wrong with you. Like everything's fine. Just like go back to bed and like go to urgent care in the morning. And by the time I went back to bed and I woke up again, I felt totally fine. And my doctor was like, I think you like had a panic attack in your sleep. And I was like,
had a bad dream or something. Yeah.
I thought I was safe in my sleep. What do you mean? I didn't realize that was the thing that could happen.
Oh,
sounds like you're just like freaking out about COVID, and maybe you should just chill out, because by the time I got to urgent care, I was breathing fine. Everything was fine. He was like, if you had COVID,
Right.
it'd be worse. And like,
Yeah.
I got tested and it was negative, but I was like, how did my brain do that?
Yeah.
It was so weird. I don't know.
I was
Anxiety's a
talking-
motherfucker.
Mhm.
So like Jesse and I, this is gonna sound like it's a total heel turn, but it's not, I swear.
Okay.
So
Okay.
a while back, Jesse and I went to some supernatural panels that were like at Dragon Con, and they were entirely about like ghosts and
Oh,
like
yeah.
supernatural
Yeah,
experiences.
you
and
guys
stuff
told the
like
story
that.
last time you were on here.
There we go. Great.
Yeah.
So building off
Avery
of
hasn't
that,
heard it,
right?
but yeah.
I have not heard it.
They were just wild. But like one of the conversations that I remember us having was about how some of the things that people will say, like, I think this was a ghost. It's hard to determine because our brains can do so much to our bodies. So if you're like, I'm convinced that, you know, one of my legs felt freezing cold for an instant and I'm convinced a ghost touched me, right? That kind of a thing. Or like, that could be your brain. Like your brain could have done that, which is, it's wild, the level and the amount of things that like anxiety and hormones and just like brain chemistry and all of that stuff can do to like convince you that you're feeling something or that you're not.
Yeah.
In the same way, in like a lighter fashion, in the same way that like if you have a dream and you wake up and something that happened in the dream, it feels for a split second like it happened in real life, and then you're like,
Yeah.
wait, no, I'm fine. You know?
Yeah. Those are the
I
worst.
I didn't
type
just
of
fall
dreams.
All
out of
that
the
stuff
plane.
is so
I'm good.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, those are definitely the worst type of dreams where you wake up and you think, wait a minute, was that real? And then you have to convince yourself
Yeah.
it wasn't real. And then you have to go back to sleep. Usually the sleep part doesn't come easy. So,
Yeah, and then you're just like, okay, it's ruined. I'm awake.
yeah, we
Yeah.
That's crazy.
it's tough. We I tweeted about this earlier, but last night in the St. Louis area, there's been a bunch of really bad storms, and lightning strikes have actually like started fires across the city. And we've been reading and watching all this stuff on the news. And so last night at 4, we were woken up by our fire alarm, like full on going off. For just,
Oh my God.
we didn't know why. It's just like loudest fucking thing I've ever heard. Woke up immediately, heart is like racing because it's like, oh God, there's fucking fire. And we both just, me and Aaron both did that thing. And I likened it to like when the parents
Alone.
in Home Alone, yeah, the
Yes!
parents in Home Alone realize that Kevin is missing and they just like stand up in bed right away or do this type of thing. Me and Aaron both did that, and we looked around. We're like, "What the fuck?" And then the fire alarm stopped, and I just kind of we were just staring at each other. The dog wasn't barking, and she got up and then came back like 30 seconds later. And I go, "Did you go look to see if there's a fire?" And she said, "No, I went to the restroom." So then I was just like, "Oh, okay, I guess." And then we just kind of laid there, and neither of us slept for about an hour because we were so worried about it going off again. It was so stupidly loud. It like
That's
hurt
so
how loud
wild.
it was. Usually I don't think I've ever heard like a fire alarm go off at full volume, I guess. And at least in a long
They're
time.
aggressive.
Yeah, it was loud as shit, which is good. But-
Yeah. On the plus side, if there's a fire, you're gonna goddamn wake up, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna know about it.
Yeah. From the Googling that I did, apparently if the humidity is high enough, it will detect it as if it's like smoke, essentially.
Really?
Yeah. So I guess that's what happened.
No.
So
I don't like that at all.
yeah, it was definitely scary because our first thought was like, oh God, because it was storming and we're like, oh God, there's fucking, our house is on fire. It's happening. This is the worst. And then nothing happened. So it was a fun night, to say the least. Yeah, anxiety though. That's another thing where just anxiety comes into play and it makes it worse because then he's lay there in bed like, so what if that actually was a fire? We responded pretty poorly to that. Like Aaron went up and used the restroom.
What if it was a test? So we just
Yeah,
failed?
like what if this is like the Truman Show and people are laughing at us right now?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, yeah, paranoia sets in. It's a nightmare.
Did the Truman Show like fuck you guys up as much as it did me? When I was a kid and I watched that movie, for I want to say years after I watched that movie, anytime I was in a hotel or anything, I was like, there are cameras in here. 100%. There are cameras in here. Like I got
I've never
really,
seen it.
really paranoid.
You've never seen the Truman
Oh,
Show?
I just know the premise, but I've never actually seen it before. I'm a very bad movie person because I'll start something and then 10 minutes in, I'm like, I gotta do laundry, and I just leave. Like I can't focus at
Sure.
all.
You're
Yeah.
my
It's
dad.
really bad.
My dad does that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
We'll like
terrible with
wait
movies.
forever for him to show up and be like, okay, are we ready to start this movie? And he'll go, yeah. And then we'll start playing it. And maybe 15 minutes in, he's like, well, time for a smoke break. And he gets up and leaves. And we're like, God damn it, Dad.
That was hard work. I'm gonna go take a break real quick.
Yeah. At some point, you just
Yeah.
gotta keep going. I'm sure you guys learned to just keep going and watch it without him. Made me feel
Watching
bad about it.
Hamilton took me like 2 days. I had
Really?
to,
Haven't
yeah,
watched
I had
it
to.
yet.
Oh man,
Always
you need to watch it.
good. It's
Yeah.
good. I had to watch it with subtitles on though, because they were rapping so fast that I was like,
So-
what are you saying?
100%. I've seen it in person twice. Once here in St. Louis. Then,
Really?
fun
God,
enough, I
I'm
saw
so
it in
jealous.
I saw it in London actually at Sacriel's wedding. But yeah, I've seen it twice in person, and then watched it. We've watched it several times now on Disney Plus. But watching it with subtitles for the first time was a completely different experience because you're able to understand all the like smaller bits of what he's actually saying and how that is related to almost every other song. Like almost there's so much interweaved in between all the different
Yeah.
bits of that whole thing that I think is very hard to pick up if you're not reading that subtitles. So yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, definitely watch it with subtitles if you
So
can.
good.
It's worth it for sure. You need to watch that, by the way, Brooke. I think even Sam would
I
enjoy
know.
that.
I want to watch it so bad.
Sam
I
would.
think he would too.
Sam would be into it.
Here's what I don't understand. Sam adores like Disney musicals, but has zero interest in seeing musicals.
Really?
And I do not understand that whatsoever.
Has he been to one?
Yeah. I tried when we were in Los Angeles, I tried to take him to some like smaller black box theater stuff, like more like intimate sort of, shows.
Yeah.
Because that's what I got so used to while I was in college. And so I was like, well, maybe, if he's seen lots of like big stage stuff and it's just kind of been whatever for him, maybe something that's a bit more like a bit smaller, where you can like really see the actors and everything. Maybe that would be more his speed. And he definitely enjoyed them. But, he's not a theater kid. It's fine.
I don't know why the thought of Sam like doing the choreography to like High School Musical is so funny to me. Like I just imagine him watching Disney Plus being like, we're all in this together.
He would do it and probably be really good at it, but the look on his face would be one of disdain. And that's what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
That's my mental image
Yeah.
of that whole
Just
process.
flat.
Yeah.
He would accept nothing but absolute perfection, but he would look so annoyed to be there.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah. I think he'll definitely, if you can convince him to watch it, I think he'll like it. It's done well enough to where I think it honestly, this sounds super hyperbolic, but it transcends what it actually is in terms of being a musical. And it's just,
Sure.
it's a thing in its own right.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
He's been watching Breaking Bad for the first time.
I saw him tweet
I just
about
watched
that.
it for the first time too.
I was really
Oh my
upset.
god.
Did
Yes.
you finish it, Avery?
No, he
Yes,
hasn't-
I-
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I'm Avery.
No,
right?
no.
Yes. Yeah.
You are Avery.
I'm Avery. Yes, I finished it. I watched all of it all the way through in like February, I think,
Okay.
pretty recently.
Okay.
Fuck, it's so good.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
I love
Where,
Breaking Bad.
where is Sam at in terms of the seasons? Do you know, Dodger?
He is about to start season 3, I think. So he's
Okay.
like not.
And
that
you've seen
far.
it?
So yeah, I saw it when like
It was airing.
I watched. I caught up to it right as the like final season was happening. So I watched the final season as it was happening, and it's really difficult like coming into the room while he's watching an episode and hearing him be like, God, I fucking hate this guy. And I realized there's no way for me to respond
Yeah.
because I only know how I feel about that character overall after watching all of it.
Yeah.
There's
Right?
such an
And so
arc
I'm like-
to everyone in that show. Yeah.
Everyone. everyone goes through so much shit in that show and changes so much that I'm just like, I can't even recall how I felt about this person at this stage.
I don't remember.
No idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Such a good
don't
show, though.
understand. There's such a meme around. Oh my god, I forgot her name. Skyler, his wife, and how she's like
Skyler.
the worst character. And I like don't get it. like I see all these
She's
tweets
great.
that are like Skyler's the worst and she's so annoying and she's the real villain of the show. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
her husband is like selling drugs and killing people. And like,
Yeah. I think
sorry, what?
I think if anything, that just shows how, like, I view that as it's a great representation of how good that actor was in that character and how good that character was in the show, that she was the one that people hated, not the drug dealing, like, murderer. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I wonder
they made
if
him
it's-
likable, and they made the
Yeah.
actual good person somewhat like the enemy, the villain.
No spoilsies.
Yeah.
No spoilsies for people who are getting
Yeah.
through
spoilsies.
it
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
hard to talk about
No
it, for sure.
spoilsies.
Yeah.
I never understood it. Like there's a thing in like the very first season or something where she's like, "Oh, I wanted this kind of cereal instead of this." And everyone's like, "I hate her." Like because she's like she wanted like some cereal, but she wanted like the crunch version instead, and everyone's like, "She's the fucking worst. I hate her." And I'm like,
What an ungrateful bitch.
Yeah. Like,
She's like 8 months pregnant. Just like,
Yeah,
man,
exactly.
I wish that I had a different type of cereal. And everybody's like, fucking boo,
Fuck
divorce
you.
her.
You suck. Yeah, I never got it, but I guess I won't go too far into it just for spoilers.
Yeah, it's probably for the better. It's been a while since I've watched
It's a
that. but-
fantastically written character, and the actor like pulled it off great. And she's definitely one of those characters where I felt different about her at like every season. I had a different kind of opinion about her, the same way that I did every character. So
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be fun to watch someone watch that for the first time. In terms of, I think that show, like the best parts of that show are the season finale and the season opener, because they always ended that show on some like absolutely fucking crazy shit going into the next season. And having
Right.
to wait for that stuff if you were watching in a real time was a nightmare. But being able to just be like, well, let's watch the next one and just see what happens immediately after some of those cliffhangers would be nice, and would be fun to watch a person react to that stuff in real time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Watching it through, I'm so glad I didn't watch it like as they were coming out. Although I think as they were coming out, I was like 13 or something. I was super young, but
Is this show?
glad
Wait,
that I
hold
didn't-
on. I got it for my own. How old is that show? And two, how old are you? Because what the fuck?
yeah, when you guys were talking about how relatable it was to be 30 something, I was like, not for me. I'm 25.
Okay.
And
all
I
right.
think the
That's what
show
I
came
thought.
out in like 2008, something like that.
Jesus.
I was
okay.
the final season, I think, was coming out 2012, something like that.
Man, it feels so much more recent than that.
2013. Okay.
Maybe because it's just like been so omnipresent in like the discussion of TV since then that I think it's more recent than that. But yeah. Anyways, sorry,
What-
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's
I don't
crazy
even
to me. I
remember what we were
never
saying.
I can't remember if we talked about this last time I was on pre-show. This is the trouble. Don't ask me back on this show. I'm
Okay.
just going to regurgitate the same information.
Well, I'm waiting for
It's
the
new
Dodging.
to me.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Dodging Cox podcast to premiere, and then you can do it all on your own show. You know?
Wonderful. Yeah, I remember in high school when the final season of Friends was coming out, and I had never
Oh.
watched Friends before, and everybody at my school was losing their minds about Friends ending. And it wasn't until it was only like a couple of years ago, so like 29 or 30 years old, that I finally watched all of Friends and was like, wow, there are so many references
I've still
that
never
I
seen
have
it.
not understood my entire life that
Yeah.
I now realize are fucking Friends references. I'm so mad.
I've only seen, like, honestly, the series finale probably of that show. Same thing with Seinfeld. I've seen the series finale of Seinfeld. I've never seen the actual show. Because like the conversation was it was like at a fever pitch around the finales of that stuff that I would watch the
Right.
final show, be like, oh yeah,
Funny.
that was cool. That was a good one.
Um,
Great.
I didn't have anything to add to the conversation. Probably like, yep, saw that one. Woo.
I watched, I think, the first 2 seasons of How I Met Your Mother, and then I was on a plane once, and it was like, we have 1 episode of How I Met Your Mother, and I was like, sure, I'll watch it. It's like, typically goof of the week sort of stuff, and it was the finale. It
Oh,
was the only episode they had on the plane, so I watched the finale of How I Met Your Mother, and now I know that there isn't really a point in watching How I Met Your
I've watched I've seen every episode of How I Met Your Mother. That's one show that I have watched from start to finish, and I can will agree with you. Yeah. It's
the
a,
final
That's the
episode
point.
convinced me that like nothing really happened in that show.
I think there's a
Terrible.
meme or something that I saw going around where it's like, yeah, that entire show could have been a 15-minute episode. And it really could have been. But it was still funny. Like there's a lot of funny episodes to be had in like the 7 seasons or whatever that it was. But it could have been a 15-minute episode. They really stretched that one thin for sure.
Yeah.
That, by the way, the mother in that show is in a new movie with Andy Samberg. It's like a rom-com that just came out called, oh boy, it's on Hulu. It actually got like absurdly good reviews, but I've not watched
Really?
it yet. Yeah, Palm Springs, that's the name. It's actually it's like a rom-com based on kind of what Groundhog Day is, where they like go into a time loop together in essence, at like a wedding. And it's based around that. I've heard it's
I
very
feel like
good.
Andy Samberg is one of those people that, like, if he's in it, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
I
are
love
you a
him.
big
I know,
pop star
dude.
fan?
Yes, I love that movie. I haven't watched it in so long, but
Erin made me
Oh,
watch
so
Pop
funny.
Star, and I'm really glad she did. That movie's really funny.
it's so stupid. The like one of the best parts to come out of that too is just the album. Like
Yeah.
I've put that just on in the car before, or like the other Lonely Island stuff. It's so funny.
Yeah, the music's
God, they're super funny.
really good.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine really sold me on him.
Haven't seen that yet. I've never seen a single episode of that.
I haven't either, but I've heard it's so good.
Oh my god!
But like, to be fair, I don't watch a lot of these like syndicated shows. I've never seen a
I
single.
don't care.
I've
I
never
don't
watched
care.
The Office.
I don't care.
I've
I
never
don't
watched,
care.
like-
Please watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It is such. It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yes,
lie, like
please.
I'm sure you guys get hit with this too, but I kind of struggle to find the time to just like sit down and watch like anything, or like the thought of
For
like
sure.
watching a whole show is like daunting. Like
Yeah.
I've found it more often than not, I'll like be like, okay, I have free time, and I'll sit down and I'll play something, and like 10 minutes in I get an email that's like, we need you to read this contract and sign it now, and I'm like, oh my god, and then I pause it, and then I go do the thing, and I sit back down, and it's like, we need you to redo this, and I'm like, ugh. And I just like I don't know, I feel like I haven't really had time to just like sit down and
Well, you also just moved. Like that's a pretty
yeah,
moving is a
it
nightmare.
doesn't help.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the age of COVID, I've definitely watched less TV.
Really?
In a weird way. Yeah. I don't like just watching something. And more recently, I've actually been entertaining the thought of reading something, and that's even scarier. Because then I'm fully trapped in my
Join a
brain.
book club, dude. I feel you.
You guys know how to
I
read?
read an-
Lucky.
I don't read this. I don't read at all. Dodger, I think, reads a lot more than me, or both of us.
No,
Not at all.
it's really, really hard for me to get invested in a book. And anybody out there who's watching right now who reads a lot of fanfic,
Oof.
you know the feels of being like, how come I can read this fanfic that's literally the length of a novel, and yet I can't read a fucking novel? Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And typically I think it's because I'm already invested in like the world and the characters and stuff. So a really well written fanfic I'm able
Yeah.
to just hop into. Whereas like going in blind on a novel, unless the run up is like really good, I don't get very far in it. So I've been trying to read a lot more books. I got all the way through American Gods, which is like an 800 something
Oh,
page
yeah.
book.
Yeah.
Incredible.
See,
Um,
here's the thing, though.
So
All of these books are just TV shows now. So why would I read a book when I could just watch the show, right? Like
sure.
Game of Thrones, just watch the show. Not going to care about that last season, though, but I enjoyed watching the show up into that.
To be fair, I have the same problem with George R.R. Martin that I have with Tolkien, and I'm probably about to get like absolutely
All right.
murdered for saying this.
I'm ready.
Twitter.com/Dexbonus. Make sure she's not affiliated
Both
with the
of them.
pre-show in any official manner.
I'm so
Not at
excited
all.
to hear this.
Both of them do the same kind of a thing where they're like, this is something that I really want to make sure I take the time to describe fully.
Yeah.
George R.R. Martin, and now there is a spread of food, and I will explain to you in detail every piece of food on that table.
Yeah.
And with Tolkien, it was, they walked through a forest, and to their left was a tree. And this was not just any tree. No, this was a tree who had seen the age-old time. Like, fuck. Both of them. They just fucking stopped the story to be like, I need to do this.
I need to tell you about this bread.
I can't read either of their books. So I've listened to the audiobook of the first Song of Ice and Fire book.
Yeah.
And I don't remember shit about what happened in it because I would get like something would be happening and then it would be a long description about food and I would space out while I was driving. And by the time I came back, I would be like, "Oh my God, I think someone died."
I do that,
I
but
don't know what
actually in
happened.
reading. And I've always done this. And as a kid, I used to read. We would get like the Scholastic book. Do they still do that? You're younger than us, Avery. Do they still do the Scholastic Book Club? 10 years
I
after
had those
we were in
when I
school?
was a kid.
Okay.
I loved that shit.
I wonder
oh my
if they're
God.
still-
Anytime it was in town, I was like, yes.
Yeah, we used to do the monthly orders at our school, and my parents would we would order, the latest Animorphs, the latest Goosebumps, and something else.
They started, when I was a kid, they started bringing in like PC games. So I would just order like Barbie's Veterinarian, whatever,
Ooh,
Rescue
they kept
number
that.
2 or some shit.
Yeah, we didn't get that. I would read those books. Like we would get the book order in because it went to the school and not to our house. We would get the Animorphs book in that morning, and by that afternoon, I would have finished it. Like I wouldn't pay attention at
Really?
school. And so I think I got all my reading out as a kid somehow. Because now if I read a book, it's like, all right, I'm going to read 3 pages. And all I got from that is I really need to figure out what game I'm going to stream in like a week. So
Oh no. Yeah.
I guess I got to read these 3 pages again to figure out how this character went from point A to point B because I don't remember shit.
Do you find that like you, I guess, kind of space out and then before you know it, it's been 10 minutes and you've been reading the same page over and over again because you're just like off somewhere else?
I'll turn the page just for the satisfaction of feeling like I've accomplished something, but I don't know what I've read.
I'm making progress.
Yeah, I don't know what I've read. 100%.
No, I'm the same way. I'll like read, like my friend lent me this book that's like it's kind of like I don't know, I guess it'd be kind of like a spiritual book and it's very like personalities are mirrors and the judges inside our brains are the fog in the mirror. And like every time I read it, I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm just super zoned out. I'm like I want to read a paragraph of this book because it's like it sounds like someone got like ate too many edibles and is just like run on sentence. Like, yeah, like everyone has a judge inside of them and there's also a victim and the judge decides the victim's fate and personalities are mirrors. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I'm like,
actually amazing.
I don't know if I'm in the right mindset to read this book.
Yeah.
And then I do that. I just zone out and I'm like, what are we going to eat later?
Yeah, no, I zone out.
I'm not there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the issue with me for sure. I will read like the most recent book that I can actually remember finishing was probably 2 years ago or so when I started going to therapy and learning about this fact that I've had anxiety my entire life, but I didn't realize it. So there's a book by actually a video game critic by the name of Dan Reichert. He wrote a book called Anxiety as an Ally or something like that. And it basically chronicles like his experience with anxiety. It's on Amazon if you want to grab it for like $5 or something. It's actually quite a good book. But I remember reading that and was like, this is a good book. But I think it was just because it was light enough to not be kind of what Dodger was saying. He didn't describe a tree for 5 fucking paragraphs. He was like, yeah, I had this really bad experience. It was this. Then I figured out that if I just like use that energy and somehow like change it into something else, it worked for me. And that's what worked for me, that type of shit. So it was just real snappy and easy to read. Which I think is important.
I think there's definitely like people who are more inclined toward fiction and people who are more inclined toward nonfiction as well. I find that
Yeah.
nonfiction tends to keep my attention easier because it's very just like descriptive of like something that happened. I don't know.
Yeah, I get
It's
that.
not descriptive of like food and trees and stuff.
I don't know. Like I really like reading like true crime stuff because typically there's a lot of focus on like um this is what happened and this is what we found and from what we found we were able to understand this and like that sort of stuff that's like more straightforward
Yeah.
is interesting to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess historically I've read more of those type of books for sure, now that I'm thinking about it. Funny enough, the only other book that I can recall reading before that was when I was in college. I read a book called Proust Was a Neuroscientist. And that was just a ridiculous book to read to begin with, because sitting in like a college hallway, reading a book that just says Proust on it in bold letters and very large, you'd get so many professors that come up to be like, oh, what are you reading? And they think that you're super intelligent. And I'd just be like, I don't know, man. It says like he's somehow he understands the brain. And they're, oh, okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
How's the book?
just walked away. But yeah, I don't know. You might be right, Brooke. Maybe I just don't like, maybe I enjoy everything fantasy except for books, right? Like I have to read true life shit. Might be on something. I don't know. I did read a bunch of Dresden Files now that I think about it, though. Sean actually Day 9 got me into Dresden Files. And those are terrible books, but I still read them. Like they're...
Where are they?
Are they really?
Well, they're not terrible books,
no.
but it's just like
I've heard they're great.
They're like the romance
some of them
novels
are
of fantasy power male trip type situation. Like he always has like a super hot chick lusting after him, and he's like fighting a demon or some shit.
Sure,
and he's like kind of
all the good points.
Yeah,
Check,
he's just kind of an asshole, and he is always drinking, and that type of shit. But they were easy reads. They were very.
I was gonna say they sound like the type of thing that would be so bad that it's kind of good. You're like, God damn, this is so stupid.
I've read like 4 or 5 of those books too. There's a huge. He's got a huge library of Dresden Files stuff. I guess they have a new one that just came out according to chat. I don't know. Do you guys know Brian Sanderson? That's the one that everyone's trying to get me to read these days.
Brian Sanderson.
He's like the big fantasy guy at the moment. Brandon, sorry. Brandon Sanderson, not Brian. He'll probably eventually get that stuff. The reason I haven't read it is because he'll get it sold to some theater or some movie company or some TV show. And it'll turn into that shit, and I'll just wait for
You'll get the TV version of it, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So when I was I want to say like middle school, high school, I started reading the Artemis Fowl books, and like they finally made an Artemis Fowl movie that's on Disney Plus apparently.
Yep.
And everybody says it is the hottest garbage that has ever been made. And like in that scenario, you really want to be like, wait, but you should just read the books, please. So like, do you feel like it's better to wait for them to make a show, watch the show and be like, this seems like it had promise, but man, is this garbage, and then try the books? Or would you rather just try the books and not experience the garbage?
I feel like that I'm pretty lenient on anything that I devote time to. I'm not going to be like, God, that was hot garbage. Like, even if it's bad, I'm still going to be like, yeah, it was entertaining. Or I got something out of that. So even if like, if I'm going to devote time to watching Artemis Fowl and the comment of like, oh man, the book is so much better. It's like, well, no, I devoted 2 hours to it. It was fine. I don't need to read the book. I already know the story. Why would I read, a 60-hour book or whatever when I've seen the 2-hour movie?
60-hour book that probably like doubles in time when you like space out and you're just like, how long have I been mindlessly flipping the page for?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's dark outside.
But the other thing is that's like the age-old adage, right? It's like, oh, the book was so better. I've been hearing that since like Jurassic Park. Like that's the earliest one that I can remember is like, oh man, the book is so much better than the movie. The movie was fucking awesome. Like, how much better can that book be than what Jurassic Park was as a movie? So I just never read it.
I was definitely one of those people that when the Harry Potter movies came out, I was
Oof.
so excited to watch them, and I was not pleased with them.
Really?
And as an adult now watching them, I'm like, they're great. They're super fun. But because the books were so fresh for me going into the movies, I was like, they left out so much. Everything's totally different. It's garbage.
I could see that.
So yeah, I think sometimes if you have like experienced the source material recently and then you watch an adaptation of it, it's hard not
Can
to
make
be
it
like,
worse.
but yeah, if you really love it and there's details that you believe are important that they left out,
Yeah.
it's hard not to be like, but
But
I get that. I think Erin's the same way with the books as well. I think she read all the books. But
Erin's like a big old Potterhead, isn't she?
we have our guest bedroom is Harry Potter.
I know.
themed.
I've seen it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true.
It's very
so
cute.
cool.
Yeah. Anyways,
I feel like Erin is super crafty mom goals for me. Like anytime she makes anything, I'm like, how are you good at all of it?
Yeah, it's a little
How did
upsetting.
you do all of it so well?
it's upsetting for me because she's just like, I'm gonna go do X, Y, and Z. It's like, cool. I hope that turns out great. And then it turns out great. It's just like, God damn it. Just come on. You're just showing off.
Can
now.
you
She's
leave
like,
some talent for the rest of us?
yeah.
Yeah.
I've been, just doing classes for Harvard Business School while also making
Right?
these cupcakes that are a perfect
You know the most-
representation of the dragon from this specific book, and also doing my just normal job and
Here's
maybe doing a stream. And
Here's the crazy, and I'm glad that there's a soundproof door behind or between us right now. She's in meetings, but the crazy thing about that Harvard stuff, I guess I'll gas up my fiance here. Crazy stuff about that Harvard stuff is
Yes.
she went into that and she learned in this Harvard business classes really, she took multiple, that the highest distinction that you can get is to, or the best you can do in those classes is to pass with distinction. And that essentially means that like the professor acknowledges that you were always active in class or you were always like at the tip top of everything. And she came to me when she first found that out and she's like, I have to do this now. Like I have to pass with distinction.
I have to be
I
the
just have to
best.
do this. Like if
her.
I don't do this, I'm going to consider it as a failure. And I kind of like rolled
Love
my
it.
eyes and was like, it's okay. Yeah. Like, sure. Try for it. It's a Harvard business
Right.
class. That's probably going to be very difficult, especially with everything else going on. 4 months later, she gets a letter like, yeah, I passed with distinction. Like, no problem. I'm just like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck?
We get it. You're great.
Yeah.
can you be bad at something, please?
Yeah, it was like not a problem. I mean, she definitely like put in a shit ton
She
of
worked
time
hard,
and effort.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was up super late and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just like, fuck, like be bad at something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
it is.
You got a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
I think she's going to do more classes or something like that. So she's got a lot going on. But Harvard business classes. Who would have thought? Who would
No
have
big
thought?
deal.
What was like
Whatever.
if you guys weren't doing anything that had to do with like online content creation or anything like that, like what do you think you would have gone for work wise, or like what would you have pursued?
Well, I have a journalism degree, so it probably would have been I would have been like a journalist in
I
some
did not
sort.
know that.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Print is dead now, so I guess I wouldn't be like writing anything. So maybe like an aspiring talking head somewhere. Thankfully, I'm not in that. I am a talking head, but not on like a political news network.
Right, you're a
So-
talking head on your own terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something like that, probably. What about you, Avery?
I don't know, because I was working in, like, when I first started streaming, I was at this point in my life where I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like work retail forever, or work like random jobs forever, and then just like come home and eat dinner and go to bed, and it's gonna be like that forever. Like I was kind of super like, I don't know, not comfortable. What's the word I'm looking for?
I know. I think I know what word you're looking for, and
Yeah.
I also can't think of it.
It's like comfortable. Complacent.
Complacent?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Thank you,
Yes.
Sat.
I was very complacent and accepting of just like I was just gonna do whatever. Because when I was 18 and I graduated high school when I was 17, not because I was smart, just because of when I was accepted into school.
Sure.
But I did just to put that out there. I did a year of college, and like the way that it was set up was that if you were a senior, you got first pick in the classes, and then the next pick was like juniors and then sophomores and then freshmen. So the only classes that were left by the time I could register were like swimming classes and like computer literacy, which is like how to turn on a computer. And I was majoring in psychology. So I was like, I'm not learning anything. So I left school and just moved to New Zealand. It was like, I'm just going to travel instead. So I don't know. Cause when I started streaming, I was just very like, I don't know. I'd like to
You
say I
just
do
didn't
something
feel like you had a lot of direction yet.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just figuring it out. Like I couch hopped for like several months. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. But like, I would like to say I would do something with psychology because I've always found psychology to be super fascinating. But I don't think I could ever be a therapist. I don't think I have it in me to like separate if I had clients from like my own life. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe do like studies or something. That'd be cool. Studies on how the brain works. I don't know. I never got to study it in college. I never got to learn anything. I just want to do something with psychology. I always found it really fascinating.
Yeah.
Psychology that's not therapy.
Wait, how long have you been doing dance stuff?
So I've been streaming Just Dance for 5 years. Yeah.
And you weren't doing, you like didn't do any dance stuff before that?
Not like professionally. Like I played Just Dance on my own time. I've been playing it since I was like a kid because we got it as a way to help me learn how to dance, but like was inexpensive because we couldn't afford like regular dance classes. They were like, you could just play this in your bedroom. And I was like, okay. So I got it every year for like Christmas or something. And then they started doing Just Dance Esports, and they like had like a Facebook ad for it and everything. I think I was living in New Zealand at the time, and they were like, yeah, you can compete online. The qualifiers are online, and like the top 2 qualifiers from each console will be flown to Paris to like compete in person. And I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. Like I'll try it. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll give it a shot. And I tried it, and the first week I was like number 1 or number 2 on PS4. And I was like, now I have to do it. Like, I didn't think I was good at it. Now I have to do it. So I qualified. And when I went to the Electronic Sports World Cup, they had like a ton of different games. Like they had like Rocket League and Call of Duty and Halo. Like they were doing a ton of stuff. But they had a Twitch booth there that was commentating on everything. And in the sessions where I wasn't competing, they were like, can you help us commentate this because we need someone who speaks English and nobody knows anything about Just Dance Esports. And I was like, okay. And that was like my first, it was super nerve wracking. They were like, just don't look at the chat. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that means. And like, they would ask me questions about how scoring works and how you have to get a good score and whatever. And then once I got home, I checked out Twitch and I was like, oh, I could stream Just Dance. Like it's technically a video game, so I could. And then I had some help from friends who were like, this is what a mod is, and this is how you ban someone. And I started streaming on my PS4 with like no microphone and a super, like the PS camera in like the little corner. And yeah. And now I'm here.
What?
Crushing it.
You said that was the ESWC. What was the name of that event?
Yeah.
Okay.
Electronic Sports World Cup, but I think they just shorten it to ESWC.
Yeah. Okay. I know most of the organizations, but only through acronyms like WCG, ESWC, MLG, ESL, all that stuff. I never really know. I mean, I could spout off what they are, but no one knows them by that shit. I was just trying to figure out who ran a Just Dance World Cup event, but that sounds like ESWC.
Yeah, it was ESWC, and like Ubisoft like handled a ton of the stuff. They don't do them anymore.
Yeah.
I stopped competing in them after like 4 years because by the time 4 years had passed, I was like streaming and established and I was full time and I was like busy doing a ton of other stuff. And I was like, I just don't have time for this anymore. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's not as fun as it used to be. Whereas before it was like I was working a job I hated and I would come home and be like, I can't wait to compete. Like, this is my happy time. And then it turned
Aw.
into like stressful time. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do this anymore. But they
Yeah.
don't do them anymore because their rules in like every country were different. Like the rules for how you could qualify for were different. So like if you lived in Russia, you could only qualify based on like if judges thought you were a good dancer. But in like the US, you could only qualify online, which is only score based. And it was like different everywhere. And everyone was like, how come it's like
Weird.
this over here and not here?
Yeah.
And then they were just like, we're going to take a break and figure it out. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll come back. I thought they were super cool to watch, but that was like my introduction to Twitch.
Right.
Mm.
I want to come back to the world of dance in just one sec, but most ridiculous, that's maybe even worse way of saying it. When I worked at WSVG, which was the first job that I got in kind of esports, on the circuit was World of Warcraft, and then there was also Guitar Hero. And so there was Guitar Hero like championships that happened, but they weren't necessarily about playing the song. It was about doing things while you were playing the song. And
That's so
it became
weird.
like this weird sense of like,
It was like very performative.
yeah,
or-
very performative. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Like putting on, and that's why it got on TV essentially. I think CBS was the people behind it, but they there was these two people that were always like neck and neck in terms of being first and second, and it was just like they were like a rock star, right? Like they would get out there and play the Dragon Force song, but they would like perform like they were a rock star at the same time. That was always the most obscure like esport thing that I was aware of at the time. Not necessarily any connection to the Just Dance stuff, but I just thought it was an interesting thing to witness, and I haven't seen anything since then.
That
like
is
that.
funny. I'd love to watch a Guitar Hero competition where they're just like playing it behind their heads or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the big thing. That was the person that won the first event in like Louisville in Kentucky. They played it behind their head and did the entire like Dragon Force song behind their head or some shit.
Amazing.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I could never.
It was real ridiculous. But anyways, back to the world of dance. Dodger, one of the reasons that so there's two reasons why both of you are on the show at the same time. The first one being Dodger was the one that tweeted out, I think maybe through Sam, through a retweet or something, your stream, Avery, when you were doing the charity stuff. Like
Oh, yeah.
2 months ago or something like that. And so that was the first time I tuned in and was just kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
Like mega like I don't know who all needs to hear this, but if
Yeah.
you haven't watched her stream before,
it's pretty insane.
She is insanely talented dancer.
Yeah.
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 Real ridiculous in
Thank
terms of
you.
the talent for sure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. And the other thing is that she does a lot of it for charitable contributions. So
Yeah, I love St. Jude.
yeah,
Big
yeah.
big St. Jude fan over here.
You raised like what, $250,000 or something, you and your team this year?
220,000.
Yeah,
Yes.
Amazing.
I'm
That's
very
so
proud.
just an absurd amount.
I'm very
Awesome.
I'm very proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird to me to think because like we're very like aware that Just Dance is so niche on Twitch. Like we're such a like tiny little bubble.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I think our goal was like 50,000 and I was like I think I could like get us over 50,000 and then maybe we could have like a little bit extra or whatever. I don't think anybody on our team was expecting it to like go that high. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
It was amazing.
we're all-
It definitely blew up for sure,
Thanks.
which is awesome. The second reason that I wanted to get you two together is I learned a random fact from Sam about you, Dodger, very long ago.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah.
were going to school. You were something dance adjacent, and you were extremely good at it. And I feel like not very many people know that. Is that what of that is accurate? Because the way that Sam gassed you the fuck up and was like, oh yeah, Dodger's like this fucking
What?
amazing dancer.
I was. It is adjacent. I've been doing like various dance stuff since I was younger.
Yeah.
I didn't know
but-
that.
Yeah.
You lied to
but-
me.
I didn't lie to you. What? In high school, I was on our dance team, which I'm so sorry, MHS, but we were a terrible dance team, and we all knew it. But I like really threw myself into drill down. If anybody did like ROTC in school, you probably did like military drill down, and dance team has like a dance variant of drill down. It just like it's mostly the same, but the commands are slightly different, and the way that you perform them is slightly different.
Mm.
And I loved it. I really loved drill down. And so every year at state, if your team made it to state, you would like perform and get graded on your performance and whatever else. But they also did the dance drill down championship there. And my senior year of high school, I was the Oregon State drill down champion.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
that's
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I beat out like a couple hundred other people on a gym floor, and all of us just hearing over a microphone, left face, right face, about face, cancel the second command, and march. Just
Yeah.
like, it's so numbing.
What is that? Explain what that is for people that may not understand it. Like did you just describe what it essentially was through the monotone speaker?
Yeah, it's basically like, oh gosh.
Live performance, folks.
Yes.
I guess there's no better way to show what it is than just to
like
show.
this, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And if they notice that one of your thumbs is different from the other thumb, they'll assume you're cheating and you get knocked out. So you had to have your hands like this.
Okay.
And then they would do like left face, right face, about face, are like the general commands, but then there are marching commands where you start marching and then you can left face and right face. And then there's by the numbers where you continue to march or not march depending on what you're doing.
Oh, so it's like Simon
And they'll
Says,
give
but,
you a sequence of
but
like
crazy. Oh, she had never
maybe
headphones
10
on.
commands. And then be like, cancel the second command. 1, 2, 1, 2. And you have to follow the rhythm of the numbers.
Okay.
But remember the order that all of the commands were in so you can get rid of whatever command they told you to get rid of. So like that's kind of how it scales. It like starts off super simple.
So it's like Simon Says.
And then it's very Simon Says, yeah. And you have to like you learn how to do things in a specific way. And they have like people all around the gym just like staring at you like, are they cheating? And also, if like say it's like a left face, right? And it's 1, 2, if it's like left face 1, you have to just wait for them to say 2. And so many fucking people get knocked out because they're like 1, 2,
They hesitate. Yeah.
Fuck.
They try to do the 2 and no one said the 2. So like it's just fiddly little shit like that. But it was always so fun when it started to get really wild, when it was like, here's 15 commands, we're gonna get rid of like 3 of them, go. That's the stuff that was like really engaging for me.
So are there
Do you have like a super good memory to be able
Only
to
for
like remember all
specific
that
things.
Oh, okay.
Highly specific things. Can't remember anybody's name to save my life. Can apparently remember 15 commands in a row. So
And also which ones were canceled.
yeah.
short-term memory then, essentially?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
So
then, where was it that Sam then picked up on the idea that, because the way that he described it to me was that you are like, trying to remember exactly what actual type of dance that he likened it to, or said that you were phenomenal.
Oh, gosh.
It might have been, I think he might have said something along the lines of like break dancing, but that just seems absurd to say.
That seems very different.
Definitely
Yeah.
not. I wish, holy shit. If there was like a type of dance that I could be good at, and I realize that all forms of dance take a lot of like effort and time, right?
Yeah.
If I could like throw myself into a type of dance and wind up good at it, it would be like
Break dancing.
pop and lock stuff.
Yeah.
Like when people are able to like really isolate certain areas of their body. Oh my god, I think
so
that shit
hard.
looks so
Yeah.
cool.
Have you ever watched like the B-Boy Championships before? The World Championships on YouTube?
No.
That stuff is
No.
fucking phenomenal to watch.
I bet
It's like,
wild.
yeah, I essentially just watch that stuff and I'm like, I don't know how the fuck they do that. That's not a human being. There's no way that they are contorting their body to do this stuff in the ways that they're doing this stuff. It's absolutely insane to see that for sure.
Dance is crazy. I think it's probably one of those like skills that doesn't, I mean, I'm biased because I am a dancer, but like it's one of those skills that I think doesn't get a lot of credit. Like people look at it and they're like, oh, that's easy. Like, especially with like something like pop and locking where they're kind of like, if they're isolating, they're not moving super far.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, they're just doing this. And that's
right.
it.
Yeah.
And
They're
it's like
just
so much harder.
Yeah.
That's all you're
Like,
doing.
no.
That's it.
No, it's like
Yeah.
takes so much work. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mostly did hip hop and modern. Those were like the ones that I really
hip hop is
enjoyed.
definitely something that maybe he would say or has said to me before.
He just thinks I'm amazing at a lot of things, and it's very sweet.
Okay.
I don't think that I'm like an incredible dancer of any type anymore because I haven't really been dancing since college, which now that I think about it is like 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's wild because I had messaged Avery during the charity stream that she was doing, and I was like, yo, I'm doing it. I'm pulling the trigger. I'm gonna buy Just Dance and I'm gonna dance with my kid and I'm gonna get back into dancing and I'm super excited.
Yes.
And it's been fun. It has been like really fun to have it. And some of those dances are so hard. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have like 40 songs that are classic, and then some of the songs have like extreme versions that are more like technical. It's the same song, just a different dance, but like way harder. And like there were a couple in the last game that I would have to wear knee pads for because they would send you bouncing off of your knees on the floor, back up into like a squat or something, or like one of them had you fall onto your left knee, but like your right leg was like pointed outwards, and then you had to like get back up without your hands and only like the bottoms of your feet. And like, it's so hard. I feel like it's easier to pick up the dances now that I've been doing it for so long, but the execution is still like, it's still very difficult.
When people come by your stream and you just completed a super hard song or something like that, are there people that say like, yeah, but how do I phrase this? Are there people that say like, yeah, but can you actually dance? Is that something that happens a lot?
All the time.
Okay. I would assume so, but I was just curious.
Yeah, no, totally. They're like, can you do real dancing? And I'm like,
how is this not
sweaty
real
and red?
Yeah.
I'm like breathing into my microphone, like real dancing. Yeah, sure. Like so exhausted. I just pressed something on my computer. Yeah, no, I get that all the time. The ones that my mod see the most are like, do you dance like this in the club? Can you do real dancing? Like, okay, now do it again, like twice in a row. And like, yeah, I get a lot of stuff. It made more sense whenever I would stream DDR. Like if someone new came in when I was streaming like Step Mania or whatever, they'd be like, can you actually dance? I'd be like, I think so. But when I play Just Dance, whenever people consider it like video game dancing, I'm just like, I don't know how to explain this to you. Like it's still dancing.
Have you actually taken any of the stuff that you've learned through the choreography? There we go. Stumbled on that word. In those songs to like a club environment and just busted something out?
I don't go outside.
Okay, I didn't know if you just like if that translated to that environment.
I don't know.
Or if you would
because
just be like,
whenever-
the fuck is this person?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think I'm at the point now where I've done it enough, or I've done it for so long that I kind of view it as like my job. So like if I would go out to like a con party or whatever, and someone would be like, "Oh, the Discord party has a dance floor. You should go dance." I'd be like, "I'm off the clock. You cannot make me do it.
Sure, yeah.
I'm gonna go sit down."
Yes.
'Cause I don't know. I feel like I'm sore all the time, and I hear the same. Like one of my struggles with Just Dance is it comes out yearly, which is a lot for a game. Annual release is a lot, but usually around summer, like June or July, I'm just like, I can't listen to these songs over and over again. So people will be like, "Oh, if you hear this song in the grocery store, do you just like break out into dance?" I'm like, "No, I like plug my ears. Like I've heard this song 1,000 times. I can't
So
do
sick
it
of this
anymore."
song at this point.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's the same for anyone who hears like Baby Shark like over and over again, or has kids that listen to Baby Shark all the
Dodger
time.
knows
It's
nothing
like,
about that. Yeah. She loves Baby Shark. Yeah.
Never heard of that before.
Never.
Yeah. No, when if I'm ever in a position where I go out to a party, which is pretty much only at conventions ever, I'm just like, no, I just want to sit and talk to my friends. I'm not gonna go dance.
Yeah. The idea of having like an actual dance area at a Twitch party is just the stupidest fucking
It's
thing.
so funny.
Like-
There's never anyone on it. I love it.
No one wants to go out. We just want to sit there and talk to people.
Yeah.
It's always been a dumb thing. When they used to, I used to rage so hard at people when we go to those Twitch parties, and I'm just like, why is their music so loud? I can't hear a person
loud.
2 inches from me.
What's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
dumb.
think every Twitch party I've ever been to, if you were there, I found you like in the furthest recesses of whatever building it was, just like
100%.
as far away from the noises.
100%.
Like you ended up in the basement somehow by like
Every time. I would go to some corner where there was a couch with a lot of other places to sit around me, and then I would sit down and not move for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Then it'd be time to go, and I would leave.
I feel like that's been a conversation with us for a long time, where streamers are like, we want parties that are not loud, and then they're still loud. And I feel like it's been like that for like years.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't
Well, I
know.
think in a lot of
Understand
cases, it's for a lot of those parties, while there are people like us who just want to have conversations, there are a large majority of people that actually do want to like go to a party. And so they have to facilitate both. I think they've gotten better.
People
at
with
it, but-
differing opinions? Ew.
Yeah.
Gross.
I know it's heresy, but yeah, they've gotten, I think, a little bit better. Granted, it's been, it feels like 20 years since the last time I've been to any convention.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the last one I was at, to be honest, because it's been so long. But I think that they've gotten better from Erin's conversations, that she usually is the one running a lot of that stuff. So she hears kind of all aspects of it. But yeah, you mentioned DDR. I would be doing my community a disservice if I didn't ask you about it.
Yes.
Where are you? Where are you at?
You're
in
gonna like
terms of
grill
the
me on my
fandom?
knowledge?
Well, no, I'm just like,
Oh.
where is your like? Do you own a steel pad? Like, are you that crazy?
no.
Or okay, all right.
No, nothing like that.
Oh my God.
DDR was like my first video game ever.
Really?
Like whenever my mom and I would like go out to a movie or something, I'd like beg her to let me go to the arcade next door so I could like play 3 songs, and I'd be like, I'll be quick, I promise. And then I think for my 8th birthday, I got a PS2, and they were like, you can either have 2 games or you can have DDR, because they had to buy the mat as well, and that was crazy expensive. And I was like, I want DDR. And I would wake up at like 4 a.m. and play it before school, and then just like knock out in class and be so tired. I loved DDR, but I only have like a USB dance mat that I was using for Stepmania. And the place that I was living in before was not a ground floor apartment.
Yeah, that's not gonna work out.
They did not like that. So now that I'm living like on the floor, I can actually do it again. But
Yeah.
I really want to get like a PS2 and get like the older DDRs, because I feel like I'd hear all the songs and just be like, what year is it? Oh
Yeah.
my God.
If you want
Yeah.
Stepmania, I have every mix in Stepmania and like a RAR file.
Amazing.
And also, I can link you to a Polish-made steel dance pad for like $200, which is comparable to like the
Ooh.
arcade version. So
That's cool.
yeah, that's my whole connection to the quote dance adjacent games. Is I played a shit ton of DDR.
It's so much fun. I loved
It
it.
is so fun. I begged once I was able to like get on eBay. I begged my mom to have like one of those weird bootleg metal pads.
Oh yeah.
And we bought one, and it did not take super long for that to break. But man, while it was working, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I went to college, and I brought to my dorm. I brought like DDR and the normal like fabric pad. But every time we tried to use it, it like slipped all over the floor. So
yes.
we duct taped it down, and when we had to move out, we tried to pull the duct tape up, and it left so much stuff all over the ground. We were like, well, we gotta, we're just gonna go.
Yeah, we're just gonna head on out of here.
I learned to play in the arcades, so when like the cloth pads came out, it was like I couldn't even play on them because it would
Hard.
frustrate me so much.
Yeah.
And I think DJ Wheat got like the most upset I've probably been around him before when there was the first ever PJ Sultan event at TwitchCon. And I was in the finals versus Future Man Gaming. They were like, and you're going to play DDR. And I was like, oh my God, like this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And then they're like, but you have to play on these shitty PS2 like cloth pads. And so I was doing all the steps right, but because those pads are absolute shit, it doesn't register. And so it was just like the most frustrating loss in the grand finals of the first PJ Sultan event, which I guess was in essence of the whole idea of a PJ Sultan tournament. But yeah.
Right, to be salty.
Yeah, I was very upset after that. But yeah, DDR is a good time for sure. I was gonna buy like the actual arcade machine because they're doing Konami has like a golden version that I think is out or coming out for the 20th anniversary or something like that. We're gonna put it here in the basement, but I haven't seen them selling it anywhere yet. So it's also a lot. I don't know if I need a full arcade machine. That's a lot.
It's a big commitment.
How much is an arcade machine? Like a new DDR arcade machine?
Couple thousand.
I really want to know
That's
now.
it?
Yeah, they're not
No way.
they're not too pricey.
They're huge. They're huge though.
Yeah, but pinball machines are huge too, and those aren't that expensive.
I see one for $8,000.
Which one is it?
Yeah,
though?
that sounds more like it.
Konami Dance Revolution Extreme.
Is it gold?
But it is used.
Oh,
No.
okay. So that's probably just like an arcade trying to
Used.
That's probably just an arcade trying to resell for it.
Telling you,
Yeah, it probably
10K.
is.
Yeah.
No. There's probably a lot of like foot sweat on it and stuff, and ugh.
Yeah,
Yep.
those machines. Yeah, someone just linked one from libertygames.co.uk. So this is for you, Brooke. You can get what is? Trying to see which one.
Oh my God. One of them is 18,000 pounds. What the
Oh my God.
That's the. Why is that one 18,000? Oh, so that is the one that I think just came out. That has like 800 different tracks on it. I think that's one of the new ones. It's in stock, free delivery for 18 grand. You can do. Oh wow, they'll even do contactless delivery for an extra 1,400 euros.
Amazing.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
It's nothing.
Wait, how do they do that? What does that even? Do they have a robot deliver it? Like, what does that mean?
I feel like they would probably just leave it at your door, and then you have to figure it out from there.
So we adjacent, but like we bought a bed frame when we first moved here, and it turned out that it was basically on the floor, and Sam is a tall boy, and it hurt his back to get in and out of this bed all the time. So we got a different bed frame, but it took a while for it to come here because of COVID and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And at the time we were like, yes, we would love for you to come in and build it because it was included. And it finally showed up, and I was like, ooh, baby, I'm so excited to have a bed, not thinking about the fact that probably they were going to just fucking drop it off at our door, which is exactly what they did.
Yeah.
They're like, sorry, we can't come in and build it, so here you go.
You're on
and
your
just
own.
left it. Yeah,
Dude,
and Sam was like,
I
I
hate
don't
that
know
shit.
how we're gonna get this up the stairs.
So,
We
Brooke,
managed to do it. It got built, but
you know that table, Brooke, that we used for the role play shows?
yeah.
So, okay, so you came to the second house that I owned there in San Antonio, the one that was like up the hill a little bit, that was
Yes.
not the first house. So
Yes.
if you remember that driveway, it was a pretty vertical driveway up a little bit of a hill. The people that dropped that off were a shipping company out of, I don't know, like New York or something like that. And because of how steep that incline was, the truck that dropped that off could only get like a third of the way up that hill. And it was only one person. And so he was like, hey, I'm just going to have to leave this here. And I was like, well, I need to get it upstairs. Like, we need to get into the house. It's like, no, that's considered like a third floor. I only do first floors. And I was like, but that doesn't make sense because that's the first floor of the house. It says that doesn't matter to us. Our rules are that it has to go first floor only. And this is as far as I can take it. And so I just said, all right, whatever. And so he dropped this, like, I don't know how, it was like 1,100 pounds or some shit, table off and left it in the driveway. And I had to that same day, I had to like call someone to come up and move it into the garage. And then I had to get my dad and my brother to carry it up those stairs in the garage into that living room. It was a fucking mess.
Dude.
Essentially, delivery people suck sometimes.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that's their fault. I mean, it was one person. There was not like he could do anything. But
Right.
yeah, just be careful what you're ordering if it's giant. Sometimes it can be a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Our
Moral of the
situation
story.
wound up being we got all of the pieces into the bedroom. And then while I was streaming, Sam built most of it. But then I was like, oh, time to go to bed, and went into our bedroom, and he was already streaming. And I realized, like, oh, the bed wasn't actually finished. So I had to like finish building the bed. So like he built part of it by himself. I built part of it by myself. And now we have a bed, like a working bed.
It worked out.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It worked out. What type of bed did you guys get? Was anything fancy? Just a normal bed?
No, Sam literally just wanted a bed that he didn't feel like he was getting up and down off the floor, basically. So he was like, I don't care what bed it is, as long as it's like at a certain height. So we got one that where the mattress actually, you can lift it up and there's storage underneath where the mattress goes.
Ooh.
I love hidden storage. I'm all about that shit. So I was like, hell yeah. Fuck yes, totally. Unfortunately, it meant, that the pieces were bigger than I think they normally would have been.
Yeah, that makes
Not
sense.
super conducive to my husband and his tiny wife just being like, let's get these up the stairs.
Is it one of those beds that comes with like the little staircase that goes next to it? That's like so...
No,
like...
but it should. Originally, I was like, I don't know if our kid's going to be able to get into this bed. Well, it's not bad for Sam and I, but it's for Clark. She stands next to it and like it comes up to like here on her, but she's having a blast trying to figure out how to climb up and down the bed, and she's fallen off of it twice and just had a giggle fit about it. So I guess it's all fine.
That works.
I guess that's good. It works. No damage.
Yeah, it's whatever.
You can get one of those little
originally.
Get one of those little dog ramps.
Exactly. Originally, I was like, we should just get one of those little dog staircases.
Yeah.
Put it next to the bed.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out. Can the cats get up on top of it or no? Can they? I would assume they could probably just jump up there pretty easy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're fine. Yeah.
That's such a specific emote.
I'd explain it, but like I said it, and I was like, man, chat's just gonna fill with that, and hopefully they don't notice. Hopefully they're not.
I've never seen that emote before.
Never seen that emote. Yeah, what the hell?
So, the dog ramp emote was actually created because of this show when we had Day 9 on it. It was me, Day 9, Shocks, and Wheat, and we were talking about how like ridiculous emote spam is, and how a lot of them just come from nothing. And Sean was like, "Yeah, you know what? It's just like spam some dog ramps if you got them in chat." And so, Elu made the emote, and now it exists, and it's the most one of the most used emotes in the chat.
Of course it is.
Because why not? Yeah. that's how it
I've
goes.
noticed that too, that like all of the emotes that I like pay someone professionally to draw for me are like, everybody's like, oh yeah, they're really cute. And then the ones that like I draw myself and I'm like, I'll put this up if we raise this much for charity. And it's like a really terrible emote I drew in like MS Paint or something. Those are the most used ones. And I'm like,
Yep.
why?
Yep. That's how it
Why?
is.
It's so bad.
I guess that makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense. It's also annoying.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. That's how it goes. Now I'm just looking at all of these absurd emotes.
Yeah, the dab one is
It's-
mine.
Oh yes. I've got a dab one as well. They're good. Yeah, I was talking with my chat the other day about how it feels like there's always, at any given moment, there's a flood of a certain type of emote, at least among like people that I know.
Totally.
And I just always absolutely refuse to get one. So currently there's like a lot of like suffer emotes
I don't think
that
I've
keep
seen
popping
those.
up. with
I haven't
people that
seen
I
Chat
know.
spam some suffer emotes. I want to see
Yeah,
what these are.
yep, there it is.
Oh,
Like strip
no.
suffer. Okay.
Those
Oh
fucking
no.
things. Yep.
Oh my God.
All of those. So I'm like, absolutely not. And people keep being like, are you going to make a suffer emote? No, never.
No.
What was the original
That's
suffer
terrifying.
emote?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Wow, there's a lot.
It's like
You're not
the
kidding.
ayayas. I have no idea.
Well,
who
the
did the first
ayaya stuff
ayaya.
that was like born from anime, as most terrible things are.
Right. But who did
Maybe
the first
suffers from
ayaya
anime.
emote?
Anime.
Who did it?
Anime.
Anime.
Anime did the first one.
Twitch.tv/anime.
The
Yeah.
anime did it.
The anime. It was 100% anime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like a know your meme, but for emotes, like know your emote?
There should be.
Or I guess know your meme is actually just a pathway to emotes, right? Like the emotes are usually referencing a meme to begin with.
I feel like Twitch emotes are so specific. So I don't know if there would be like a know your meme for Twitch emotes.
So this is I guess we can use this as a segue to talk about music somewhat, but I was watching, as you do, the Taylor Swift premiere last night for the new album.
Sure.
Great. Huge
course.
fan. Love Tay-Tay. And it premiered on YouTube. And I'd never been to like a YouTube video premiere before. I've never seen this whole thing happen, especially of this size that Taylor Swift is. So I was like, fuck it. It's midnight. I don't have anything to do. Let's see what this is about. So I like go to the page and the YouTube chat is there. There's no emotes. It's just text. And I realized that it's so much better to have emotes because holy fuck, is it a pain in the ass to read text as fast as it scrolls. Because like people are
Right.
trying to convey emotions, but you can't read a line of text, but you can sure as hell see
When
like
it's
a
like
pog, right? Like
Yeah.
you
Right.
understand that very quickly. And so it made me actually like
Interesting.
understand and
Yeah.
respect the Twitch emote culture so much more after seeing what it's like not having that and like a 500 or 600,000 person chat that was on YouTube last night. I think YouTube
makes
has their own
sense.
emotes as well, but they didn't in Taylor Swift's Vivo channel. So I guess you just wouldn't have them there.
Right.
Yeah, that
I
it
hadn't
was a
thought of
weird
that,
thing.
but that's definitely true. It helps people that are in chat and the streamer like gain context for what's going on in their chat really quickly.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, speaking of music, are you guys big Taylor Swift fans? Are you super into huge Taylor Swift?
Yeah, she's all right.
No one.
Really?
I was so
I enjoy her
confused.
songs sometimes.
I was so because I was like, oh man, Taylor Swift. Everyone loves Taylor. No one dislikes Taylor Swift actively. I went into my Discord to be like, hey, anyone watching the Taylor Swift stuff? Anyone want to hang out and watch it? No one wanted to hang out and watch the Taylor Swift video last night. Everyone was like, this is fucking garbage. Why do you listen to this?
No,
I'm not a big fan. I don't know. I think it's not that I hate it. It's just the music's never really clicked with me for some reason.
Yeah.
Like I think the new album, I listened to it a little bit last night because I was like, oh, everyone's freaking out about it. I'll give it a shot. And I listened to a couple of the songs and I was like, this is an album I would definitely listen to if I was going through a breakup and just needed to like cry a lot.
Yes, it's a very,
But-
as someone who's
Right.
listened to the
was-
whole album, it's a little like mellow 90s, like kind of
Yeah.
depressing.
Yeah, I was listening to it last night and I was like, I'm not in a sad enough mood to be listening to this. But when I am, I'm going to cry listening to this shit.
Right. Yeah. Aaron
Yeah.
Aaron was also listening at the same time in a different room, and she would be like, "Oh my god, this song 13 is so sad. I'm gonna cry," and I'd get to it. Like, yeah, that's pretty fucking depressing. It's a pretty sad song.
I'm always like, I know that for some people they're like, unless you can sit with an album from start to finish, like it wasn't that good of an album, right? If you wind up skipping songs, I always skip slow songs, always.
Really?
Yeah,
Every
me
album that
too.
I've ever listened to, I need there to be like
What do you-
speed or like
What do you consider a slow song? You can answer that in BPMs, or you can answer that by an example, whichever way you wish to.
I like songs that are more like
Yeah.
no, I guess just like if I feel like I can't
Bob your head.
like bop to it,
Okay.
it's not really fun for me. And I also when I'm listening to music, I typically find myself like sort of turning the mental gears about something. And slow songs, it doesn't really work for me. I pretty much only want to listen to fast stuff. I don't know why. Like I just need there to be some kind of like a you know.
I get it. I'm trying to
Need to be
decide if
know
I
what
able
it
to listen
is.
to slow songs.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I like slow songs. I don't dislike slow songs,
Sure.
but I don't know. I don't skip them. Like you seem to abhor slow songs. Like you won't even listen
No,
to
I
them.
don't hate
You
I don't
hate
hate
them
them.
so much. It's just absurd. Like how much hatred you have in your heart for the.
maybe
Can't stand it.
fuck 'em. Maybe it's the way that I should put it is like if I'm listening to music as the background to my life, right? Like if I'm doing other stuff and I want music on, I don't want it to be slow. I can appreciate a slow song, and if I'm just like sitting and experiencing music, then sure. But most of the
So-
time when I want music on, it's as like a companion piece to what like other things that I'm doing, and I don't want those songs to be slow.
Now I
That's a
think
great way to put it.
Yeah, I think I need you to answer in BPMs because I'm trying to decide like where the cutoff is.
800.
Like, are you a happy
Right.
hardcore person, like 240 BPM or die? Like,
I don't know. I can't visualize BPMs. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of like a popular. I don't know what's popular. The UK has different shit than we do here. And I don't even know if you like listen to top pop type shit.
France is 140. 100 is when it starts slowing down.
Yeah,
128 and up. This is so funny.
128 is house. Trance is 140. Happy hardcore is like 180 plus.
That might be too much.
Happy hardcore.
Happy hardcore sounds too much to me.
Well, happy hardcore is not necessarily. Anyways, I don't want to get into genres of music. That's a whole fucking shit show of stupidity. But,
I think
yeah.
like I know probably JP, you also grew up in a situation where like people either loved or hated country music.
Yeah.
Like country music is so prevalent that either you just like lent into it, like, yeah, I love country music, or you were like, no, fuck this, I hate it.
Yeah.
I felt like that's definitely how it was when I was growing up, and I went through a stage where I was like, I also hate country music. And as an adult now, I've realized that I think pretty much every genre of music I can appreciate in some way or another. I can find songs where I'm like, yeah, this song slaps. I love this. You know?
I've always said the same thing. The only type of music I can't stand, and it just has to do with the rhythm, is like cumbia music. I cannot listen to that like beat of music. It just drives me insane.
What music?
What is that?
Like I think I'm pronouncing it right, but now I'm gonna hesitate, and I'm anxious to say like cumbia music or CUMBIA.
What? I thought
Never
you were
heard of
just
that
really
before.
quickly saying kumbaya. I was like,
I mean, essentially, yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
I don't want to play it for DMCA reasons, but by all
Sure.
means, you'll pick up
Can
the
you
beat
like make
immediately.
the music sounds with your mouth?
music style
Just like-
originated in Colombia. It is also well used in Mexico. how to dance cumbia. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. For some reason, that like beat, it just drives me insane. I cannot listen to it, and I don't know where that stems
I've never
from.
heard of it before.
But anything else, I'm
There-
like you, Brooke. I'll just listen to anything. Go ahead.
For pretty much my entire life, I was like, the only genre I can't listen to is like screaming, like death metal. Like,
Sure.
it's so loud and I'm just like, oh my, it's a lot for like my brain to take in. But my friend has been like slowly introducing me to bands that have like screaming, and he'll be like, just like read the lyrics as you listen to it. And like, I'll read the lyrics, and obviously it depends on the song, but like, I'll read the lyrics and then listen to it again. And I'm like, this is actually like not that bad. Like, I kind of like
Are
it.
we talking
Yeah.
like
starting to,
screamo or like what are we?
I need there to be some musicality to it.
That's
for
be
sure.
Yeah.
melancholic or
That's-
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, to it. There has to be a melody.
The band that he's using to like ease me into it is a band called Dance Gavin Dance, where
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like a
Yeah, yeah.
mixture. Yeah, it's like a mixture of singing and screaming. And like,
Yeah.
I'm slowly being like, okay, this isn't terrible. I kind of like it. It's not bad. I like that, and country were the two growing up that I was like, I hate it. I hate all of it. And now I'm listening to more of it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I
Man,
don't.
if you play literally any song from like 90s country, I will know it by heart. And I'm
Really?
super into it. But yeah.
Awesome. I love it.
Aaron didn't know this until we drove from Dallas to San Antonio when I was moving pretty early on in our relationship. And then we listened to mostly country the entire time we were going on the drive. And she was like, what the fuck? Like, how do you, why do you listen to all of this music? Like Alan Jackson, Garth Brooks, George Strait, that type of stuff for people that are listening and want to know different brand or different artists. But yeah, for some reason, I guess because that's what my parents would listen to, right? And as a kid, you don't get to control the dial at all when
No.
you're going to and
Sure,
from school
yeah.
or wherever you're going. So it's just whatever they want to listen to. So
My mom would like exclusively listen to the Beatles all the time and like ABBA and stuff, which I loved. But then whenever I got to
Amazing.
see my dad, he'd play like Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy. And I was like, yes, this is my music. Thanks, Dad. So
I just
I feel
discovered
like I got
ABBA
a ton
like
of-
a month ago for the first time.
What?
Yeah,
Amazing.
which is
it's so good.
it's upsetting too
the music
because
is so good.
I told my dad this and he was like, "What?"
What do you mean?
And he goes, "What do you mean?" Like he was like, "I've loved ABBA and have been the biggest ABBA fan for my entire life. How are you just now listening to this?" And I was like, I don't know. Like it just happened. I found like a remix in a like it was a trance performance or something like that. And I was really into the music. And then I
That's
just
cool.
listened to actual ABBA and it's like, this is pretty good. Like
They
understand some stuff.
There's a movie, or there's two movies now called Mamma Mia that's
Oh, yeah.
like all musical with all the ABBA songs, and I love those movies.
They're
I haven't watched
so
them yet.
good.
I would
please.
watch them, but yeah,
Very good.
I need to.
Very good movies.
Because I'm like I like Grease. Most people think Grease is a terrible movie from like a actual plot purpose, but the music in Grease is pretty good.
Yeah,
it's catchy for sure.
it is very good.
Yeah, they're also making a prequel to Grease, I believe. For
Really?
people. That was
Are they
announced
really?
like
Wow.
a month ago. So yeah, whole thing.
You look disappointed in that.
Well, I feel like Grease is like, do you really need to tell more story about the ridiculousness of I don't know if you've
What
seen
was
that
going on?
movie recently, but
Yeah,
it's really fucked up. Like it's
Yeah, it
really
doesn't hold up well.
fucked. Yeah.
There's I saw a tweet recently. I can't remember if I retweeted it or not, but somebody was like, I don't understand why we keep remaking movies that are already like lauded as being good when we should be remaking movies that were fucking terrible.
Yeah, I saw
And I
that.
was like,
Oh,
yeah,
that's a good
so
idea.
true.
Yeah.
We should be taking movies that had a lot of promise but were executed really poorly and remake those instead
it
of remaking
good.
movies that people already love. Yeah.
I think that happens, but they don't label it the same movie because that marketing failed. So they just tell the same story in a
Sure.
different like way or a different wrap around it.
I I don't know. With like, so I realize that anime is different, but they've started doing that with some of the anime series that, like a while back, it used to be that, they would greenlight an anime for, 12 or 13 episodes and be like, well, by episode 12, we're going to have to, in case it doesn't get greenlit for a second season, we're going to just have to come up with an ending because
Sure.
either there isn't enough manga left or, the manga's too long and we don't know whether or not we're going to be able to keep going. So there's a slew of anime out there where it's really good, really good, really good. And then the last couple of episodes feel like a weird Deus Ex Machina or just like a terrible ending. And people will be like, why is this so bad? It's because the people who were making it just like came up with an ending, right?
Yeah.
It's nothing like the manga. So, for example, like a real big success story is Full Metal Alchemist. There are 2 animes for Full Metal Alchemist, and one of them only follows the manga, and one of them had like kind of a we'll just come up with an ending because the manga isn't done yet.
Yeah.
And people like both. Like they're not, but generally the ending of the first one, people were like, I don't understand why they did this, and they didn't have to really remarket it because people were already interested in seeing them try again,
Yeah.
to do Brotherhood, which is the one that followed the manga.
Not anime, but I was just watching Lucifer on Netflix, which was originally on like Fox. They did that at the end of season 3, where like episode 25 of 28, this like giant plot device happens. Episode 26, I think they got word that it was like the show was canceled. And so it's just something completely random. And then episode 28, it's even something more random. And then episode 1 of season 4, they go back to episode 26 and continue the story from there.
Like retcon it?
Yeah. Well, no,
so
they don't retcon it. It doesn't reference. I don't want to say what happened, but it like for 3 seasons, for 60 episodes, a certain omnipresent person is not there. And then all of a sudden in one episode, he's the narrator. And you're just like, well, this is a little weird. Where the fuck did this come from? And then they start season 4 and like, he's not there anymore. So I don't know why it exists, but yeah, I think it's because they thought that they were going to be canceled. And so they tried to, like you said, put in whatever finality
the bow on
they
it
wanted.
somehow.
Into the show. But yeah, Lucifer's actually, season 4 is pretty good. Completely different from the rest of the other 3 seasons because Netflix took it over and they like actually put money into it, and he can curse now. He's the devil. He can finally curse.
I swear.
Yeah.
That's all I want for Hannibal.
There's more.
I know that
Did you see that? He might actually do it. He might do season 4.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. They were talking about, like, he has plans for season 4 and 5. He knows what would happen. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, please, Netflix. They put all of it on Netflix. It's such a good sign.
I think it's doing well too. Yeah. Have you watched?
I think so. If the fan artist community is anything to go by, yeah, it's a lot of people are suddenly watching Hannibal, which is great.
I can already see the like X-rated Hannibal, whatever the main character's name is in that show that I'm forgetting.
Their smush name is Hanagram.
Oh
JP.
my god!
Get it right.
Avery, have you ever watched the Hannibal NBC show?
No, I haven't.
Are you squeamish at all?
Not really, no. It kind of depends. It depends on like how kind of like real it looks. I don't know. I think I'm actually more squeamish to like noises than I am like visual.
Ooh, I don't know
like,
if this show's for you then.
Yeah, it might not be. Like if I see a pile of guts, I'm like, whatever. But if I hear like a bone crack, I'm like, no.
There's definitely some like audio stuff in it for sure.
Yeah.
But they went for it's maybe one of the most aesthetic shows I've ever watched in my life.
Oh yeah.
They really committed to like a style for that show.
That's cool.
It's just beautiful. Yeah, considering that they're like,
very well.
This is a show about like all kinds of wacky murders, and also this other main character eats people, right? Like considering that that's like the setup, like every single episode has a shot in it where you're like, God, that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they definitely don't shy away from the gore and the like
Fucked
there's an
upness.
episode. Yeah, there's an episode that's entirely about like burying bodies and growing mushrooms out of them and like all kinds of weird shit.
Ew.
So
Yeah.
Did you say
yeah,
it was
so
on
if that kind of
NBC?
stuff.
That's the
It's on
crazy
Netflix
thing.
now.
Yeah, it's on Netflix now, but it was on NBC.
Okay.
I think this is like the 4th or 5th time that show's actually come up on this show. So for repeat listeners, sorry, but
Sorry.
it was on NBC. No, I like telling the story because it's ridiculous. It was on NBC, and there's a scene where I don't know if actually you've ever heard this, Dodger. There's a scene where a girl is dead, and like the ratings board or whatever for TV, like where it says like rated M for mature or whatever. Those people were going to give it like they were not going to air this episode essentially because it was a bare ass of this murder victim that was shown. And so the way that they got around the censor board or the ratings board was they painted it red with blood, and that worked. They're like, yep, good to go. You can
So
show this
weird.
stuff.
You'd think that would make it worse because they like added gore to it.
Right? So strange.
Yeah, it's really weird. That show is really good though. I remember when I was watching it, I think Dodger, you had already seen it, but I would like watch an episode and text to be like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to go to the next episode. Like I'm really deeply fucked up right now.
Yeah, Hannibal and Vikings. Those were the two
yeah.
shows that every single episode I was getting a text from you like, I can't fucking watch this, dude. I
Vikings
can't
was
do
just
this.
so depressing, man. It's such a somber show. And then they literally get to the episode where it's like, we're a suicide cult. I was like, all right, well, here we go. That was where I stopped, was the suicide cult episode. So then there's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 other seasons past that, but yeah. It was a lot for sure. So I don't, if you're squeamish at all or anything we just described, Avery, I would not. Animal goes a lot.
Yeah,
Goes the
maybe
distance.
not.
Yeah. It does have some.
So good though.
It is very good. They do have some. What would you call that? You were talking about like pop locking dancing. They have an episode where there's a thing with a deer, and they do a lot of the like horror thing where it's pop locking ish horror. With a deer walking towards the camera. You don't remember in season 3, Brooke? The thing where the deer.
I do not.
I don't want to spoil it. There's a deer that basically like comes to life that the guy finds in Europe somewhere, and he starts walking towards the camera and like really stop framing animation.
Why do I not remember this?
That scene in particular stuck with me for many years afterwards. I don't know.
It sounds creepy based on the way you're describing it. Like it sounds like some undead deer is just like.
I think
slowly.
it's a deer. I think it's like a mutilated deer that is in a dream sequence, and it like stop motion walks towards Will, the main character, and it's really fucking creepy looking.
Oh no! Breakdancing zombie deer.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very aesthetic, Chad.
It is. But Avery, you said you were watching Breaking Bad. What have you been watching recently? Me and Dodgers on anime. I've been watching Lucifer. Where are you at? Then we'll probably wrap the shows here. We're getting close to 2 hours.
I don't know because I kind of just struggle to find the time to watch anything. I've been trying to get through obviously such a like not related at all to anything like Hannibal or anime, but I've been trying to get through Rick and Morty because I've never seen it before.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Are you enjoying it?
Some of the episodes I'm like, what the fuck? And then there's other episodes I'm like, oh shit, this is awesome. Like there's one episode where like they go to a planet where it's like all women and like women rule, and they just kind of like there's a part where like someone burps and every woman on the planet is like, I've never heard that noise before. Like the whole thing is really funny.
Yeah.
But my favorite episodes that they do are the ones where it seems like they've run out of ideas. And so they sit the characters on a couch and they watch commercials, and all the commercials seem to be just like, those are the best episodes where they're just like improvising some weird scenario and then they start laughing and like, it's so good. Those are my favorite ones for sure. But I feel like something like Rick and Morty is easier for me to get through as opposed to something like Breaking Bad because it's so much shorter. Like, I can watch a 20-minute episode of Rick and Morty and then be like, okay, I can go do my work or do the laundry or whatever I'm doing. Like it's so much more bite-sized. Whereas every time I sat and watched Breaking Bad, it was like watching a shorter movie.
Yeah.
And it was like I had to like prepare myself and get food and get water, and it was like a whole big thing. So I'm kind of enjoying just watching something that's like very small and not hard to.
Has the internet ruined Rick and Morty for you, or are you able to watch it without the memification of that show existing?
The memification of it.
Yeah, like where it's just everywhere. Like everyone says the same jokes.
Yeah, don't.
I guess if you don't know what I'm talking
It's
about, I'm going to
obvious
stop
that
talking.
she doesn't know what you're talking about.
Let's
So
just
yeah,
stop.
just leave it.
Let's just
Great.
stop. Let's just stop.
The only
Let her
thing,
experience it.
the only thing I've heard about, like the only big thing I've seen about Rick and Morty is that like some of the fans are very like, you have to be high IQ to watch this show or something like that.
Okay.
That's like the only thing I've seen. And then like the whole fuss about like the Szechuan sauce or whatever it was called at like McDonald's, where people were going in and throwing tantrums and shit. And I watched the show and I'm like, some of this is really dumb and some of this is really funny. And like, I'm just enjoying it for what it is. I'm not going to be like, I have a high IQ. I can watch the show.
That's the appropriate way for sure.
Yeah.
I know we're over, but I do want to mention that you actually are on your own TV show yourself now. What is that process like? How is that going?
I'm on a show on TBS called Sparked. That is a reality gaming competition show around The Sims. And they,
interesting.
Yeah, it premiered last week, and they put us into groups for us to work together in and like build stories, and then like we have to present them, which was just great because like all of us hated presenting. Like, that was terrifying.
Like, you just described school to me, and I'm like, no, I'm not.
That's literally what I was thinking.
Especially in front of people who are gonna like will be more than happy to like pick everything apart and be like, this is bad. And you're just like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool experience anyway, just to learn more about like production and stuff. But Dodger, you were saying something earlier about how every time Sam is watching Breaking Bad, you can't say anything. Like anytime he's like, oh, I hate this person, you like have to just like not. And I think that's kind of been that's been like the hardest part about this whole thing, is whenever anyone's like, so how was the experience and what did you guys do? I have to be like, I don't know. Because we filmed it all already. So I have to just be like,
just pick up the NDA that you signed and just like kind of point it at the screen. Yeah, I get it.
I don't want to lose everything. No, it was really fun.
It was redacted.
It was so very redacted. But I didn't think that like I've been playing The Sims since I was a kid. So like this was like a huge deal for me, but I didn't think that my community would latch onto it as much as they have, just because I'm mostly known for dancing. So I thought they'd be like, The Sims, this is weird. What are we doing? But they've been like setting up watch parties and like,
oh, that's awesome,
sharing photos and stuff, and it's really sweet. And I don't know, it's just really weird. I haven't watched the first episode yet because I'm just like, it's me. I don't want to see it. I'm too nervous. So I haven't watched it yet. And the next episode is premiering tonight, and I'm just like, I don't want to see myself on camera. It's just really weird, especially in like a reality setting where you're like, what if they edit me to be the bad guy? Like, what if they chop up my words and put them into a
I
sense?
would be so scared of.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're right. That would be terrible if you become the bad guy.
Yep. One of my friends was like, imagine they like chop up one of your sentences where you're saying like, I think, and then like some man voice comes in and is like, they're a bitch. And like suddenly it just like edits you to say something really bad, but it's really obvious. And I was like, no,
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I definitely
I
have questions if like the producers actually egged you on for that, but I don't want to ask you that because I'm sure you can't say anything.
It's
so
redacted.
Yeah, it's redacted. Yeah. I've talked to a bunch of people on different reality shows, and the shows that they were on, specifically like Big Brother, they were like, they would ask them like,
I love Big Brother.
You need to like become an archetype. What archetype are you going to be? Like that type of shit. So
Yeah.
That makes sense because Big Brother like I've been watching Big Brother for like ages since I was really young, and they seem to focus really heavily on like roles. Like this is the nerd character, this is the model, this is the bartender or whatever, and then they like hone in on that, and that's their whole personality. Which I always thought was really weird. Like just I don't know, let them run free and do whatever.
I was asked to be on Big Brother. And I said no, and my sister was so mad at me because she loves that show. And I was like, I'm not. A few years ago, they were like, "Hey, we want to like get more like current content creators."
Was that through like Polaris?
No, the
on your own?
producers reached out. Yeah,
crazy.
They were like, "Hey, we would love to have you on Big Brother," and I was like, "No, thank you." And I made the mistake. I made the mistake of telling my mom, and my mom told my sister, and my sister was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You could have been on Big Brother, you dumb bitch. Like, I can't believe you said no."
Does Wheat know that? Does the king of reality TV know that you were asked to be on Big Brother?
I don't think
Never
so.
never share that with him. He would be upset with you
It's a short list of people. Well, now it's a very long list of people who know that I was asked to be on it. But I was like, absolutely not, because it's literally my nightmare, to be on something like that and then watch it later and be like, I didn't even fucking say that. Like, they just edited me to be something specific. I would hate that.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious in Big Brother too. Like you can hear their pitch and their tones change mid-sentence and you're like, oh, you just chop that sentence together.
Yeah.
I feel like I would probably be like too excited to say no and I'd be like, yes. And then I'd be there and be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
What have I done?
It depends on like what the reality show is, right? Like Big Brother, I think that whole fandom would just be super toxic and follow you for the rest of your life. But if it's like the British baking show, that's great. I'm shitty at cooking, but everyone's lovely.
Where you like get to go home and hang out with your family and like figure out your next recipe and then just show up and hang out in a tent and make a cake and then be like, well, I did my best. I guess I'll go home. Like,
and the worst thing is like, your chocolate's not that chocolatey, but I still enjoyed it. Like that's the worst you're gonna get, right?
Yeah. They're not going to edit you to be like, that bitch put pecans in her chocolate.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah. They save that for the Gordon Ramsay shit. So yeah. Anyways, I think we'll call it a show there. Thank you guys for both coming on. We'll do some shout outs here. Dodger will let you go first so Avery can pick up on the shout out lingo. Also apologies for the shout out cards. The goof is that they're made in jest here. So don't take. Anyway, you'll see. Dodger, go ahead. Do some shout-outs.
Dodger is one of those singular word people like Beyonce or Cher. She is a content maker, hates coffee, and stole my husband away from me years ago. I don't even need to say anything else. Like that covers
I thought
it.
I got you like to a T there.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Hi everybody. I'm Dodger. You can find me at Dexbonus on pretty much everything. I stream almost every day, do variety games and just chatting and hanging out. Got a coffee company. Ignore the hates coffee part. I have a coffee company and a lovely little family. And just love for you to come by. And obviously, thank you, JP, for asking me to be on pre-show again. It was delightful. And I'm so excited that I got to be on with Avery, who I haven't had like tons of chances to talk to. So it was very cool to have an excuse to just sit here and talk about whatever. So thank you, both of you. It was a lovely show.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on. Avery, do some shout outs. I'll frame you up here.
Oh my God, that was so fast. The Littlesiha is a DDR focused streamer who primarily keeps all of her earnings and never donates to charity. The irony is that like my favorite part about that is that like every time I upload a Just Dance video to YouTube, it's immediately demonetized. I make so much money. I love the DMCA laws. Woo! My name's Avery or Littlesiha. I stream a lot of dance stuff. I also, whenever my body's too sore, we play games. Right now we're playing Until Dawn. I've played it before, but I'm letting chat make decisions because they like to ruin the entire story. So we're doing that. And just to echo what Brooke said, thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it. It's very sweet and I had a lot of fun and That's about
Very
it.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for being on to both of you. Not sure when we're going to do another episode of the pre-show. I got to figure out who we're going to have on it. But I'll let you guys know when we do. But for now, Brooke, you're done streaming for today, right? Stripping streaming. Go check out Stripping Stream. Is that your?
Yes.
Okay. And Avery, are you going to be streaming later? I guess you're going to be doing the sim stuff tonight, your show, right? Is that where people should check you out? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Go watch all that stuff. We'll see you next time, though. Thanks for watching the pre-show. We're out of here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.